Also, let the stream run for a moment, so it'll go through it. Blah blah blah.
Yeah.
Where'd my other screen go? Oh. Turn on ads. I'll run them every 30 seconds. Actually, I don't think I can run that. I think I can run them every minute, every 5 minutes. Hear us talk about weird stuff until the session really begins. We're just hoping somebody will wake up enough.
You're sounding a little off on the stream.
Am I? Oh, wait a minute. I bet you know why. See. No. That's there. Oh, yeah. It's good that this is why technical difficulty. Oh.
It sounds like you got like voice mod on, but like I'm only hearing it on the stream, not in Discord.
Huh. Yeah, let me stop changing here. See what happens. If I turn off voice mod, it messes with it more. And if I have voice mod on, sometimes it cuts me off in certain things, so I have to be careful with it. And like, I have to make a small adjustment here and there. So I flip that back. Let me check settings. What in the world? Okay. Let's see. Let's try that. It was on a whole other microphone.
Yeah, that actually sounds a lot better now.
Yeah, because it's on the microphone. It's in front of me too now. And oh god, let me check, make sure Discord is still set. That other microphone is actually really close. Okay, Discord's microphone is just through not through voice mod. Because for some reason, if I switch it to that, does that change it at all?
I mean, you sound better on stream now.
Oh, I can change this too. There we go. I'll try it out and see what happens. Yeah, that's weird. The audio wants to play games. Yay. Oh, and it actually improved on the pickup too. Because I was too low, now I'm higher. Yay.
Yep. That would do it.
Small little things. Other than that thing.
Well, like I said, it's a good thing we picked up on it now. And because if you were not talking into the microphone during that whole session, it's really going to upset people who are listening to this.
Please, I don't want to have what happened in the one. I don't know.
Well, see, that's why
I'm watching the audio now. Oh my god, I redlined myself. I've never done that.
Yeah, turn down your gain a little bit, because now you're a little bit too much.
Hang on. There. Okay. Let's see if that's a little better. Okay, now I got it. Oh, come on, back down. Down. Let me set it equal to the other side. Not too much. There we go. Now that should be a little better. Yeah, now I'm not redlining. It actually maxed it out. I was like, "Ooh, no. Too much.
Gain was a little high.
Oh no! Why would I have turned it all the way up? Unless I was still using. I'm looking around for the microphones. You can see I'm like, that one? Is it this one? There's too many microphones around me. Listening to us. Oh, I just realized also the title. I never changed.
Listening, always watching.
I forgot to change the title. Whoops.
Oh yeah.
There's my
Yeah, it might
whoopsie.
help because we're not doing that one.
Hey,
Hey, he's finally awake.
the 22.
Yeah, I didn't sleep that well last night.
Do you sleep well any night, my dude?
Kind of hard when there's a furball that doesn't want to sit still.
Meow. Meow.
So I'm kind of glad I don't have cats.
Meow.
I used to live with
Yes.
one, and yeah, like, cause I wouldn't let her sleep in the room. Clawed at my door all the fucking time.
Okay. Let's see if that changed the title. Yes, it did. Okay. I just clicked on something I didn't want to.
What'd you do?
Wait for a moment before I start doing anything.
What did you do?
I clicked on the add button because there's an add button. I'm like, oh
Oh.
crap. I was moving the window and I clicked off to the side and
You know what? It's fine. You can run ads because we're not doing anything important right now. So
It's like, oh, okay, well, as long as my microphone I can see is actually picking up and it sounds okay, so we're all right. That's good.
yep.
We got the awoken one, we got the silent one, and then we got the assassin.
If you like, I can go Warhammer and go. I have awoken.
I don't even feel awake right now. How's that? Let's see, we changed that. Ta-da! Is it done? Please tell me you're done.
Ding.
Alrighty. You guys awake enough? Do you need to do anything beforehand?
Yeah,
I
just
don't
need
think
to fill
so.
up my water.
Wada wada wada.
Get your agua. Get your snacks.
I have my
Settle
snacks. I have
in.
burgers.
I got a plate of food.
The food. I have something slightly to drink next to me. I guess I should have grabbed something for myself, but oh well. I'll be fine. I've got other stuff near me. Somewhat. Let's see. If anybody wants to catch past episodes who catch this episode, you can go there. That's the YouTube page where it's cataloged and stored. You can find all of them there. Yeah, I'm really having. Yeah, we are all awake for this, right? But yeah, you can
I
go.
took a nap.
What's a nap?
Yes.
You're talking about sleep. No. But no, if anybody wants to catch any past episodes of both the campaigns that are going on, this one will be the Transformer one next Friday. If I'm alive then too, it'll be the Day in Destiny. And then I'm hoping to maybe throw in some box openings and a few other things somewhere along the lines here. Yay! And then we're gonna
Yeah.
flip over to this screen, which is a big map of the station. Yep, I had to look at the thing to see to make sure it is. Where's my other screen? Here it is. All right, there we go. So we're gonna do a little recap here real quick. After the station had been attacked and a few other things have gone on, now we have our three illustrious bots who are back at the station, the Black Station, the Aurora, I can't say that word now.
Ouroboros Station.
Yeah, Aurora.
That
one.
Ouroboros.
The dog. I'm gonna do that. The dog's gonna go start whining outside. They've been at the station, taking care of things and prepping for their next little adventure to get to Shockwave Station, which they're gonna have to go to Prometheus first, then to another small planet to maybe hitch a ride and have some fun. But
Fun.
oh yes, fun.
Ooh.
Somebody needs another tin can cup that he needs to add to his collection too. So. Talking to you, Mercer.
Well, I was gonna say I have like 40. What do you mean?
Oh yeah, I was gonna say
He
what
hungers
does
for the energon of the non-believers.
yeah, what are your
But you need
quarters?
to show more, Mercer.
Yeah,
Because
what are your
remember, the answer to everything is 42.
yeah, what do your quarters look like? There's probably shelves with cups on it, and Aegis is just like, why do you have so many now? Just you don't need to keep getting them.
And then I still have that one Gilgamesh bobblehead.
That's what I'm gonna say. Oh, you go over occasionally and tap it. Aegis sits there and just flick, 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 and watches.
I refuse to get rid of it.
Ah, oh my god. All right, so we're gonna jump to you guys. That's as much as I'm gonna recap for each of you. Because we'll recap it a little more with each of your characters, depending on what you're doing in the station right now, what you would like to ask for. And actually, I'm gonna see if I can put some sound on and behind this. It's quieter. It's gonna be quiet though. You guys won't hardly hear it. It's just for noise. There. Hopefully, that's not gonna get too loud though. So let's see what our lively bots are up to. Let me see. Anybody want to volunteer to go first?
Sure, I don't mind.
Okay. Void Striker, what are you doing right now in your station? What preparations are you making?
Well, going through and downloading a list of vehicle alt modes because, I have my Omni T-Cog.
What would you have Wavelength doing during this time?
Wavelength, because I know what she's like, and because she doesn't do motion still, she's still probably processing Artemis. I would give her a little job to do, basically put together a blueprint.
All right.
The blueprint is of a little device we had a discussion about like sessions upon sessions ago. A little hidden wrist syringe weapons.
Remind me of. Oh man, I remember some of it, and I don't have all the notes out here. So.
Rust plague injectors.
Oh, that's yes, yes. So is she designed those specifically for like to fit on you or other bots?
They will first be designed to be put on me for the prototype, and once we get a working version going, we'll then go into a version which we can produce for other people.
All right, so I'm assuming you guys are in your lab, along with Addie and
Yes, sir.
Tick, who is still learning a lot, and she's still building things and helping. And
Yeah, I'm just gonna move my icon up there.
oh yeah, that's right. You guys have icons. I forgot about those. Those little things they move on the
Now I'll bring
screen.
the wavelength icon over here as well.
Where was she anyway? It's like,
She was in the sub commander room.
oh, okay. Man, those guys are hard to spot.
Well, now she's on the table next to me.
See, well, on my side, I got names. I can see most of them, but
Yeah.
yours and hers, I cannot see. And actually,
We're up next to Addie now, if that helps.
Yeah, I can see both of you there. I actually should just.
And I've got Scamper just sitting in the commander room.
Let's see. Let me do this real quick so I can actually. I'm just gonna put WL because that's a long name to put on the screen, and that's better. Now I can actually spot you. Oh, there we go. It makes it easier for me to find you guys. Cause see, I can see Aegis, Overload, all you guys. Makes it easier for me.
Yeah.
So, You
Yep.
guys, whoops, let me click off this. You guys don't see me doing that because I got a separate screen for it. I'm like, it makes it easy. So you got her working on that. Wavelength's over kind of on one of the benches. She's kind of she's on the table working. It looks like she's got a little bench on a bench, but she's sitting there leaned over. You can see her welding and looks like she's doing a few other things every once in a while. She stops and mutters some things and then she goes right back to it. Addie is over with Tick, just kind of working on some side projects. And she kind of looks around for a moment and she goes, hey, Void Striker, do you still happen to have my device? And she kind of does air quotes, device. You know, that little portal thing?
I'm immediately going to turn around to a hidden compartment in the wall, press a button, pull it out, put it on the table, close compartment.
She's like, thank you. And she picks it up. I think I know how to fix this now. And she sets it down. She goes, Tick, come here. I'm going to show you this. And she starts, and Tick immediately is on the opposite side of her, and she starts doing little things. Just it's like she knows what she's doing with it. I've seen a similar design, but it never worked. It actually blew up. And she
If
rubs.
you noticed in your calculations, Eddie, you were almost there. You were only incorrect in about these 3 locations.
Yes, and that's what and you see Tick's rubbing her face because she said explosion. And she's like, yeah, that one hurt. But Addie's like, yes, and that's where I'm going to start correcting it. Tick, can you hold that wire there? And they start working on this, and they're doing their little thing. Wavelength is just sitting there. Void Striker.
While they're doing that, I'm going to take a trip down to Phoenix.
But before you leave, Void Striker, for a moment you kind of feel sorrow from Wavelength. But she doesn't stop doing her work. She's just...
As I walk past her, I'll just simply put my hand on her back as I walk past.
She just stops, is still, and you see her head kind of tilt down a little bit. And then the moment kind of, you feel like, okay, I'm all right. And then she just goes right back to it. She acknowledges that you're there for that moment, but then she just goes right back to what she's doing.
And I'll continue on my path to Phoenix.
So Phoenix is sitting in the hangar bay. You can see some of the other bots. Steel has been coming in and out with supplies, doing some minor work on him, kind of checking him over. And then you see Steel kind of walk back out. He kind of waves at you and just kind of nods, but he keeps doing stuff. He's working on a lot of stuff himself. Phoenix sees you approaching. Oh, Void Striker. May I help you with something? Is there something you need?
I'm here for 2 reasons: to retrieve my crossbow and to give you some new algorithms if you want them.
Algorithm? That would be good. And he sounds kind of like, is it good? And he chimes
Unknown.
in.
If these algorithms work correctly, they should allow you to use the darkness of space to your advantage.
Okay. I can try. I have never exceeded my programming this far, but I have been already exceeding it. I would be glad to try it out. Your crossbow is in here. I have it stored safely, and you can hear a compartment inside kind of, and it opens up to reveal it sitting inside this hangar bay. He goes. You kind of hear him come across. So I could use the darkness. How? He's really curious.
I'm going to put my handing on his outer paneling. I've noticed that you've been evolving more and more, even from inside out. Even your outside seems to be changing slightly.
Yes, I have advanced myself with knowledge that I have acquired. It's been fun, but
I'm.
interesting.
This algorithm will allow you to basically attempt to hide your heat signatures and allow active scans to go over you instead of being reflected by you.
So, a form of stealth. Ooh. We could play a little hide and seek then?
Yes.
That would be much better. And you see on the closest engine to you kind of pops open vents. It would be better than venting this out every time. And you could see a bit of heat wave out a little bit and then it closes back up.
I will warn you, you won't be able to go stealth permanently. You will have to vent the heat buildup at some point.
Oh, absolutely. This will be somewhat of a test run then. Uh, this will be fun. And he kind of, you
I'm
hear him
gonna
kind of laugh a little.
I'm gonna start a data stream between me and him so I can start giving him the algorithms.
And you see him just kind of his systems kind of receive it real easy, and he goes, "This is fascinating information. Whoa, that's a lot of information. Ugh. Ooh, this is interesting." He goes, "How does this work?" And he starts. You can hear the little beeping and booping, or he's making sounds as he's like literally taking all this data and in a computer state, just running with it. But he's excited, and for just that moment while you're connected to him, you can actually feel like genuine emotion from him. He's excited,
And
and
best of all, Phoenix, there's a little bit of code in there that will be a surprise for you later.
ooh, a surprise. Better be a good surprise.
I'm sure you'll like it.
Excellent. And he goes into it. This is fascinating information. How does one do? Okay, if I do that, and you suddenly kind of hear the ship itself, Phoenix himself, start to. You swear there's some shifting and things happening, like he's transforming a little bit, but it's really quiet. So you hear that little light transformation happening every once in a while in different spots.
So like the transformation when like Metroplex is like slightly shifting.
Yeah, it's just very quiet to you, but you can hear it because you're right next to him. And he's just sitting there. And he's like fascinating, fascinating. That's all you keep hearing. This is interesting. Ooh, we could have some fun with this. Venting heat, venting heat. Ooh, I might have a way. Ooh, we could have some fun with this. And he's just going off on his own little tangent. He's like,
As he's doing that, I'm gonna grab my crossbow and reattach it to my left arm.
as you do, you see like Steele's coming and going. He's bringing out some more supplies that you need, and pretty much that's all that you see going on out there. Is there anything else you would like to do while you're in this part of your spotlight?
I'm just gonna sit at the edge of the hangar with it open and just do calculations in my head.
All right. Well, while you're doing that, we're going to switch over to Overload.
Alright.
What are you and Aegis doing?
Well, let's see.
And what would you like to do too?
Probably going over the map layout of the area we'll be departing to go over the structure of the land as well as any strategies we can come up with.
From what Kiara has been able to pull from the data that she's even retrieved, and Varish has pulled up even more that he could, it's a where you would have to go to because you're going to have to make the jump to Phoenix. Then he's going to be able to portal you guys to this planet. You notice the terrain's pretty rough, but it's also like barren. It's more like a sandy, rocky planet. Really not much vegetation at all. Like the most you see is some maybe ice caps here and there, and what might look like some water deposits. But really, most of the planet is kind of rock and desert like.
Hmm.
You do have some canyons in there too, so.
Canyons. Okay, so then yeah, there's definitely some chokeholds that are definitely here. We could take advantage of those or avoid them in case the enemy has already taken them as control.
Aegis is looking, kind of standing there, and he's looking. He kind of points out, yeah, you can see they might be set up. And he points out, like tapping on the screen, giving you markers. Like they could be here by what the signatures that have come up. They could be here or here. But he kind of gestures to a kind of a sort of a canyon area. It kind of dips down into like a canyon. And he goes, this looks like a good spot to hide, but also prep things. And it's a pretty big area. This one, and he points up to one that's more north. He goes, this one's a little too jagged, and if they're running shuttles in and out, they're not going to be able to do too well here. So I don't think they'd be there. This one over here to the east, or west, excuse me, is more. They could use it, but it's exposed more. I don't think Shockwave is going to just blatantly sit out in the open unless he wants somebody to find him. He kind of looks at you. What do you think?
Considering that shockwave, most scenarios we'd probably come up with something of backup in case we do follow that idea. Such as if we went down the canyon, most likely we'll have guards there in preparation. If we go into the forest, then most likely there'll be some form of scouts or whatnot, traps.
So as you two are looking at this, the doors open, coming from the minicon area, and Kiara walks in, and she's like, "Oh, good, you're both here, and oh, excellent, you are looking at that. I've got some more info for you both to look over if you want." And she kind of snaps an overlay over top of your guys's what you have going, and she goes, "We found," and she goes, "That's funny. What's the markings? That's kind of about this one," and she gestures to the one in the canyon kind of area. She goes, "We've kind of detected a small cave, or at least a cave," and she kind of taps on her tablet and it highlights on your screens. And she goes, "Down here to the south of it, which is right there, but also there's some energy signals. They're not strong by what Prometheus is able to gather, but he's picked up a pretty good amount." And she goes, "I thought you guys might want that little bit of update before anything."
Okay, so then there's an energy spike, a small energy spike within a cave. So that could potentially mean that they've either that's energon that's been out there, or that's Shockwave has set up something down there as well.
And Kiara kind of leans over real close over your shoulder, and she's kind of leaning on you. And she kind of points to the screen. She goes, "Yeah, but if you look right here, just a little more north on from that cave entrance, this is a flat area. And if you look," and she kind of taps, "that looks like one of the shuttles." And she goes, "These little dots, those are crates probably of stuff or something. I'm not sure what that is." And she taps on something, but she goes, "Our resolution right now is not great at the distance he was able to scan." So, and she's just kind of leaning on you still, just kind of, it's like she's almost like she's hugging you a little bit. But you're a big bot to her,
So
so she's just holding on to your shoulder.
So a potential drop-off point then?
Well, it from what the scans might indicate, and she kind of holds her tablet down in front of you, and she taps while leaving it up, like kind of down in front of you. She pulls it up on your image. She goes, "If you look, this might be where they're taking off from. This might be drop off and pick up." So she's kind of like, those energy signatures might actually be other bots down there. We're not sure, but from what the guilds have come up with, the council even thinks there might be something worth checking out.
And this cave isn't going into the building. So meaning most likely this is a drop-off point for bodies to then bring the bodies into the facility then. Correct?
Yes, if this is a shuttle, and that cave might be where they're just kind of keeping things out of sight.
Okay. Then we found our entry then. So we should definitely tell the others that we found a potential entry point then.
He just kind of looks at the map and looks back. I agree. Uh, it would be something we're gonna have to be prepared for because this is gonna be a fight. But this is where stealth, and he kind of, you see Aegis kind of go like he's pretending to be a cat, like stealth, and Kiara just kind of looks at him. What are you doing? He goes, trying to be like Carbine and Gilgamesh. Yeah. And she just kind of she looks at you, Overload, and then looks back at him. Um, don't. You're not that. It doesn't look good on you. He just stands up like, you swear he's blushing red because he's embarrassed now. He's already red enough. He's gonna brighten up. And she just kind of grins. You're all right. And she kind of taps his head, and he like brushes her hand. Don't
In
patronize
in
me.
any in any case, we might not need to go fully stealth if we can get some of their men in a bit of a trance as well.
Yes.
Potentially make it easier on us as well as keeping our cover low.
You think we might be able to get some other devices that are more for? And you see Aegis's optics kind of flip around a little bit, like he's looking left to right. Um, to incapacitate them in some way.
I've actually been experimenting a bit with my new powers, and I seem to discover something that I didn't have before.
Kiara kind of sits up, and she kind of sits sideways on one of the chairs, like kind of on the back side of it, and leans. And she puts her hand on your shoulder, like what?
Well, I believe I could potentially get at least one bot or so in our control, but only for a limited amount of time. It won't be long, but it should be long enough to at least get one person within the transport, unsuspectingly.
She
Although I
looks.
can't exactly guarantee it since I don't know how well it will do.
Aegis and her kind of look at each other and then look at you. Aegis is like, that could be very helpful. You could use
But
that.
again, it is very new, so I can't exactly give any promises that it will work.
Still worth a shot. And Aegis like hands out. It's better than nothing. Right now, everything we got in our arsenal, we're gonna need it. Especially the, and he makes this gesture like big gun, and Kiara's like, "No, I understood that one. That was a little better." He kind of like, yeah. As you guys are sitting in there, you see the medical bay doors open, and you see the little one kind of come out, and she just walks out a little bit, and she's looking around, and she looks over at you guys. She kind of just waves slowly, and she has her little thing on her back. She's walking up to you guys, and he just kind of looks down at her, and he's like, "Everything okay?" She looks down for a moment, and she's kind of doing like a nervous thing with her hands, like she's grabbing one hand and kind of like nervously twisting. And Kiara, you can see her kind of lean down even closer. You okay? And little one doesn't say anything, but she looks at all of you. You're massive to her, but she kind of looks and she doesn't say anything. She does her hand like a so-so. Aegis, you did do something pretty remarkable. You kind of healed all of us. And she doesn't say anything, not even beeps, nothing. She doesn't really communicate. She just shrugs her shoulder like, I don't know. She seems a little confused looking. Even Kiara's kind of like, maybe you should go get something to eat or drink or maybe rest some more. Little one just shrugs again and kind of just slowly walks away from you guys. And she literally walks under the seat you're sitting on, Overload, as she walks under, and she just keeps going, like she's going toward the kitchen area. She doesn't really say anything. Even Kiara's watching her slowly walk away. You just hear the little as she walks away, just real quiet. A just goes, that was kind of odd. Although, what hasn't been odd around here? The medical bay doors open again, but this time somebody a little bigger comes out. Not as big as any of you, well, bigger than Aegis. And she stands there for a moment. She's a little wobbly looking. And Nyx, she doesn't have her, like, the hood on. She doesn't have the cape kind of on her. She has her whole thing drawn back, and she kind of looks around. Um, I'm healing up, and she kind of lifts it up pretty well. Um, where did the little
Good to
one
hear.
go?
To the kitchen.
Oh, okay. It's good to see all of you, but. And she notices the map and everything you're looking at. Is this someplace you have to go to get to possibly where I was?
Yes, we're figuring out a good route for one of us to infiltrate and then secure a point of passage for everyone else to get into.
Oh, okay. As she walks closer to you, she's really close to you, Overload, and she kind of stumbles and falls forward into you. Like literally, she's trying to hold onto your leg and stand up. And Aegis is like, Nix, you should go, Rick. Rest. You're not fully. And she kind of puts up her hand, and he stops immediately. Doesn't say anything. Even Kiara's trying to convince her, hey, you need to go rest some more. No, I'm fine. And she kind of stands up, holding onto your leg, and you could feel her grip is really tight onto you. She's trying not to show it to everyone else, but she is still not in great shape. She's better, but she's still not in great shape. She kind of shakes it off, and she goes, "You're dealing with a lot. The weapons they used really," and she kind of, you could see her touching certain spots on her body, really do a lot of damage, and they hurt a lot. I was stealthed until one of their ships got close enough to detect me, and I didn't realize until it was too late. And she's really struggling to kind of hold herself up for a moment, and she kind of rights herself, and she like she's trying to stand up straight and be herself. And she looks at you, Overload, and she goes, "There's more than one of them. I was able to detect and see more than one." And she kind of falters a little bit, like she was holding that pose so well, and then and Aegis is like, "I don't care what's going on, you need to rest." And she snaps her hand up, and he immediately backs off and stands at attention, like, "Yes, ma'am." You guys are going to have a big fight. He has, how do I put this, more than one of himself, but they're not like him. They're here and somewhere else. They've been brought here. And she goes, it's like she's struggling to talk for a moment, and she goes, "In other words, your shockwave in this universe is still here, but it's not him. And then the other one was brought here, but it is not him. It's like they're both being controlled in some way. I didn't get to see the other one. All I detected was a large energy signature." And she starts to kind of collapse and fall down. And Aegis goes, "I don't care what's happening now. You need to go back." Felix comes out. "All my patients go away when I just walk away for a moment." And he's just really like agitated. "Oh, great. Okay. You were supposed to rest some more." And he literally just comes over. "No, no, no. I don't care what's going on. You need to rest." But she literally is kind of almost to the point of passed out. And he picks her up and he goes, "Now, where did the little one go to?"
Kitchen.
"Hopefully she's not as bad a state as this. You're going back and being charged up more, and enough said. I don't want to hear it. I'm the doctor here." And he walks away. "Sorry." And he just take care of her. Looks, and even Kiara's like, "I'll come with you and sit with her." And so Kiara gets up, goes with Felix. "You guys, if you need any more data, I'm still doing it. You can contact me on the comms." And she winks at you both and walks out of there and goes with Felix and Nyx. After a little bit of, after just that moment of time, you hear the little footsteps again, and you see the little one with a tiny cup, kind of standing near one of your feet, Overload. She's not really saying anything, but she's looking at the picture. And you just see her head tilting every once in a while. But she takes a sip of this, and you see her kind of pulse every once in a while, as she does. And she's not really saying anything. She's just looking. But then she points, and she beeps a few times, and Aegis is like, "Yes, we're gonna go there, not you." And you see the little one's face, like, giving, like, attitude back at him. And she beeps something. It's like, okay, who taught you that? And she just kind of looks, like, sneers at him, like attitude. And she kind of like, you hear her beeping a few more times, Overload, and you kind of get the gist of she's kind of like, "You can't tell me what to do. I can do what I want." And Aegis is standing there. You see his hands on his hip, like on his hips, and he's standing there like, "No." And you see her just like, she finishes off the drink and she throws the little cup. And you see just kind of ting ting, ting, and she stomps her foot and she goes, and she walks away in like a little bit of a huff. And you just see Aegis like face palm, like, "Oh." She wants to go with us, and I told her no. She said, Should she
Got the
go
use
with
of
us?
that.
She's like, he just kind of opens one optic as he's face palming. He looks at you. Should she go? I don't think so.
Hmm. Although I can see the problem with her being really small, so she isn't exactly she wouldn't be a frontliner per se, but she has been able to prove herself over and over again with spontaneous and successful events.
Yeah, but she's still vulnerable. Just
That is why I say she is not a frontliner.
ECA just kind of he drops from his kind of his proud stance to he's like just tired looking as he leans down and he kind of just sits down on the surface he's at and he just want to make protect her. And he shakes his head. I couldn't protect. And he kind of drifts off with that. He doesn't say anything else. And you see him shake his head. He's like, but we have kind of a plan, maybe what we can do, what's there. And he's just he's trying to really not think about it. You can feel his sorrow, that sadness kick into him a little bit when he brings up the last part of that line of he's just trying to protect her because he wasn't able to protect somebody else. But he's just kind of trying to shrug it off again. Like, no. He turns to you and he goes, so should we tell the others?
There's no harm in doing so.
He kind of stands up. He goes, I think I'm going to go grab something to drink, and then why don't we go tell the rest some of the info we have?
Agreed.
Hmm. So, as you guys...
Uh,
What?
Money
What?
tracks. Question with the portal device. Is it two-way or one-way? Because I keep forgetting if it's one-way or two-way.
Yours is one way. I don't think you
And
ever
is it
had
from
that
second point or the
modified.
first way? Last time I
So,
was playing, I think
when
it
you,
was either last time or the time after that. I did plan on having it modified, but we never had the time to do it.
oh, well, if you wanted to, you could try and see if somebody could modify it, but they'd have to roll pretty high to do it. But it is one way. So when you place the first portal, that is where you will exit. When you need to use the second portal of it, that's your entrance. So your first one is where you plan on exiting out at.
All right. Okay, so yeah, then I would think I would need. So when Aegis comes back and we'll head to the others, I'll bring that up as well then.
So during that time, he's come back. You could tell he drank something because he seemed a little brighter than normal. But while you guys are gonna get ready to go meet everybody, White Striker's in the hangar. Do you need to meet them in any specific area, or do you want to, I should say, meet them in a specific area?
Not particularly. Just bringing up points of interest as well as a problem that can be fixed potentially.
Hmm? Well, you can always meet them in a specific area if you'd like. All you have to do is radio. So, but while you're trying to figure that out, we're going to switch over to Gilgamesh and Carbine now. What's Gilgamesh and Carbine doing?
So the two of them would be with Skyline discussing the infiltration of the station itself, discussing the different paths that they would need to take to uh, plant the portal device in order for them to gain entrance.
Drift is there with you because he's now her partner and he's kind of just been hanging with her. But he seems a little more, I guess, chill about things. Like, okay, what do you need me to do kind of attitude. but he's still that surfer, kind of trying to be relaxed about certain things. Sky looks over and kind of looks at him a few times, and he's kind of not, he's there, but he's sometimes in his own little world in his head. And she goes, "You are an interesting one." And he kind of double takes, like, "Are you talking to me?" Look, like, what? And she kind of looks at you, Gilgamesh, and she goes, "I mean, I had her. This is interesting. You're
Interesting in what way?
she kind of looks back down at Drift, and he's standing there in his little bot form, and he's like, "What do you mean, dude? Like, uh," he's like, "Well, hers, you're feeling, I can feel you're, you're sad, but you're hiding it." And he kind of, you, again, you guys swear when these bots are doing this, they're blushing a little bit, like they're embarrassed. It's like, uh, sorry, yeah. And you can kind of hear the surfer tone disappear a little bit. Yeah, yeah, sorry. Just my memories. And Sky kind of just leans, like, not leans down, but she kneels down to him, and she puts her hand on his shoulder, and she just kind of, "It's okay. I'm just getting used to feeling what you're feeling too. It is nice to know you do have those feelings too. Remember what we talked about while we were sitting out there?" And he kind of just looks at her for a moment, and he kind of reaches up, and she kind of tips her head, and he touches the feathers. And you could see him running his fingers over them softly, and she was soft but strong. And she goes, "Yep, you're soft too, but you're just as strong." And he kind of looks down, looks back up, and he looks over at all of you. "Well, this strategy thing's dudes," and you see him slip right back into it. And even Carbine's like, you swear she's rolling her little eyeballs in her caracal form, just going, "Oh, here we go again." And Carbine's like, "It's okay, we all feel it. It's something normal." Sky stands back up, and she goes, "So, with all the stealth, Gilgamesh, what do we need to do? Because it seems like this place is going to be interesting to get into."
Well, priority one is we need to get the portal put down so we can get everyone inside. We need to map out whichever one of the bays we're going to arrive in, the path that we need to get the portal down so we can get everyone inside. From there, it's pretty much going to be stealth will be off the table. Once we get everyone inside, it's going to be all hell's going to break loose. We need to secure the station as quickly as possible. So if that means we can pinpoint their power source or the control tower, whatever we need to do, we need to do it and do it quickly. We might not be able to gain full control of the station, but if we can at least gain access to the information inside of it before it's deleted, that's the second priority.
She looks at you, and she's like, "Sounds like a lot, but it sounds kind of fun too, because..."
It's not as complicated as you think. It's just a matter of where we end up and how fast we can get to point A, and then from point A to point B.
And she goes, "We can do that, and if we can stealth as long as we can..." you see her come up, and she takes one of the feathers out of her top of her head, and she starts twirling it, and then she goes, "And if we have to deal with some people," and she flicks it like it's nothing, and it hits this mannequin. She's not even looking at it, and it hits it right between the optics. And it just kind of sparks a little bit. It's not really a mannequin, it's one of the test dummies. And it just kind of goes limp and shorts out. And she puts her hand back up and it retrieves back. It's a nice touch that they added to these. And she goes, "They'll come in handy." And she puts it back. And she
It's a
goes,
rather effective trick.
"I can only do it at short distances, though. This was only like 25 feet. So she kind of shrugs. It's something, though. And maybe it'll get some payback at some point." And she puts the feather back up again. And Drift's like, "It's a nice touch." As you guys are sitting there, Carbine kind of, "So, are we going with you guys?" And she's referring to Drift and her.
So I gotta ask above game. The portal device, what's the range on it?
Well, it's technically for what you're going to be getting and using. Are you using his portal device or using a space bridge device? There's a difference here.
Do we have a portable space bridge device? Because my dimension door is not a space bridge device.
But Overload has his, but his can only go so far. So he
Yeah,
can't
and
If it's
my
planet-
dimension door goes less than that range. So
Your door is literally just a bag of holding, is what you can describe it as.
they're gonna have to be on the ship, and I'm gonna have to like portal them in from the ship that like they're hiding on to get them in.
Well, I was going to say, if it's planet side, it should be perfectly fine. Even if it's like, if we're in orbit of the planet, it would be fine still.
But we're talking
well-
about the station.
Well, if they're in the shuttle, you could use his device to do that. You would just have to borrow it from Overload to place the door, drop a door. So it literally they would come through one way or the other. So you could tell it to, in this case, we'd have to reverse it. But if Overload can get the modification done, or there's another option, and it will be happening soon. I'll leave that one here. So you guys have choices that you can do here. Like Overload, you can still get that modified. I'm giving you guys opportunity right now to do certain things. So, right now, Carbine and Drift just want to know, hey, are we going with you? That's all they want to know. Because they don't know if they're going to be a problem or if they're going to be a benefit for you guys. Drift is not exactly stealthy, but he can do certain things.
It may be of benefit for her to come with me, just because she would have the same techniques and abilities that I would have, so her infiltration methods should also be the same.
Mm-hmm.
It would it would really help if we can both go in together. It's going to be that matter of, can we both get aboard that ship in order to get on the station?
As stealth,
Would that be an issue?
no, because
Okay.
you are both pretty much equally stealth. You both can go. She just wants to know, am I going? Do you want me to go? It's just
Okay.
general.
So
Drift knows that he's like, I'm not stealthy. I'm not that stealthy. I'm this. He's an engineer. He's not you guys. So he knows his limitations. That's why he's like, he's looking around at you guys like, I'm not stealthy.
well, to answer your question, I would like for Skyline to come along and Drift. If you think you can keep up, you would probably be of benefit to us as well. But we are going to be moving very quick, very quiet, and trying our best to be unseen. If you can maintain all three of these things, you can certainly come along on the first wave. But if not, you come along with the rest of the group that is coming in through the portal.
He looks down and he looks up. He goes, well, and he transforms into his turtle form. He becomes almost totally silent in this form, but he goes, still kind of not hard to miss. And he's floating there. You could kind of see him. He goes, I can do what Aegis does and kind of tone my coloring down. But, dude, I
then it
prefer
is
not to
to your
jeopardize you.
benefit. Then it's to your benefit that you come with the group with that comes with the portal, because that will be the larger portion of our force, and they can provide you cover.
He kind of transforms back to the bot and lands, and he goes, I'd rather do that. I don't want to jeopardize my new friends. And he puts his hand up against Sky's leg, and he goes, I don't want to do that. And you can see his coloring blends and starts changing her cyan to greens and purples and that as he does that. And he lowers his hand and he goes, I don't want to jeopardize you guys. So yeah,
Well,
I'll
then
stay
your role
back.
is decided.
Yeah. And he's like, yeah, I'm good with this, dudes. I'd like to go and help, but I think I'd be more of a hindrance and cause you guys problems. So yeah, I'll stay back with the group. I can give technical assistance through your optics if I can get a signal. Otherwise, and he kind of gestures the telepathy thing. He goes, that works a little different, but you can describe a lot.
You don't have to worry about that. I'll have Carbine with me inside, and we'll be able to assess things on the fly. I trust in Carbine's ability. We can handle most security measures that'll come our way.
He kind of makes a gesture with hand like, right on, dude. All right. As you're saying that, you guys all hear across your comms, Varish comes across and he goes, we have an incoming space bridge.
From where?
Well, the guild. And he said, Widow's kind of passing on a message. You guys might want to meet this guy. And he goes, just meet him in the hangar. The bridge will be opening in a moment.
Yeah, Gilgamesh will just rise from his position and he'll pick up Carbine and they'll go out to the space bridge.
You see Drift kind of look over, want to ride? And he's talking to Sky. He transforms into the surfboard and she kind of steps up and she goes, this is sweet. And she kind of drifts through, not fast, but past you and just kind of surfs out through the door. And it's like...
We literally have a Silver Surfer.
Yeah. But she's white. So she kind of comes in. Void Striker, you see Sky kind of come in, go up into the air with Drift, and he's literally kind of almost doing a huge barrel roll, coming around in a big loop-de-loop. And you could just hear having fun with it, and you hear him giggling like, this is fun. And she comes down.
What? For their fun, as they're doing the loop-de-loop, I'm going to lift my hand up so she can high-five me.
Yeah, she comes around and she gives you this high five in it while she's inverted on Drift, and she kind of goes, yeehaw, like zips around, and she comes around you a couple times. Now, Gilgamesh, you and Carbine are coming in, and you're just seeing this happening. And it's just like, she comes and she hops off Drift, and Drift transforms, lands, and he's like, no, that was righteous. So, Overload, are you joining them with Aegis in the hangar too?
Yeah.
Okay. So, you guys are all coming in. Overload, Aegis, you guys come into the hangar. You see them all there. And Varish comes across. Kiara kind of comes in through one of the side doors. And she goes, sorry, I was sitting with Nyx. I heard what Varish was saying. And you can see her on her tablet. And she pulls up the screen and she goes, oh, this definitely is going to benefit you guys. As you're all sitting there, Wavelength comes through the side door from one of the labs, and she's not really looking up. And the space bridge, you can hear Varish opening space bridge, and it opens up. She's not even paying attention to it. She's just looking down at this thing in her hand, and she's like, this should work. She's not. You see her walk kind of diagonal toward. She's walking toward you, Void Circle. Like she knows where you're at. But the space bridge is open, and she's just like not even like whatever.
As she's walking, I'm just gonna whistle at her.
And you see her little tufted ears perk up on top of her head, and she looks and she, oh. And you see her kind of hurriedly get over to you. Sorry, I wasn't focused on that. She goes, we have a visitor? She kind of looks at you, just like, huh?
It appears so.
You see her little tufted ears moving. They're kind of similar in the way Carbine's move, but Carbine has those little tufts on top that kind of wiggle around sometimes when she moves her ears and tweaks them around. Hers are a little more shorter, and they kind of tweak and move. And she's like, oh, well, I finished my project, but this can wait for a moment. As you all are standing there, you see this bot walk through, and he's holding a case. It's pretty long, but it looks heavy. But this bot, very eloquently built looking, very nice looking, and he looks around, and his optics blink, and he goes, interesting. Ah, Lord Gilgamesh. And he bows to you for a moment, Gilgamesh. And
I assume I recognize this one, yeah?
you automatically recognize he is one of the weapon masters of the guilds. And he kind of looks at the rest of you, and he bows to all of you. Pleasure. I was sent by Widow to maybe help in some way. And he
Do I know his name?
It's Bernelli. I had to have some fun with that name now because I'm going to use it. He's just named Bernelli. That's all he is. But he takes his case and he literally takes it and he holds it up. And it lays out flat. And suddenly you see legs come down, fold out, and almost instant. And it folds out even into more. And you suddenly see all these different weapons, knife blades, everything you could see is all laying across here almost, except for they looked a little modified. And he kind of looks, if you'd like to peruse, if you're looking for something, please let me know. But please have a look at my wares. Don't worry about the charges. Widow said she would cover it.
Gilgamesh will start kind of going over the smaller throwing devices.
You see
I trust you received the specifications I sent before.
Ah, yes, sir. And he goes, just a moment. And you see him tap on the edge of this, like, table now, and a whole other drawer slides out, and he picks up this very nicely covered piece, and he lays it out, and there are 5 blades there. He goes, we have your choice of blades here, sir, that you requested, but I suggest maybe of these ones, and he gestures to 2 specifically. You see the other ones that he's not gesturing to, and they're kind of like, they're nice blades. They don't really serve you a purpose, though. But these 2, he goes, these are very specific to what you asked for. These took a little bit to make, sir. This one, you see this kind of a bluish white blade. It gives off a slight glow. It's not real super bright or anything. And he picks it up and he flips it in his fingers to the blade. It holds in the tips of his fingers, and you notice it goes out. Designed for stealth at its maximum, sir. This one, is our stasis blade. And he gently holds it to you, but he flips it again so that the blade tip is toward you, and he's holding the handle. It's almost like an instant. It's really fast. He's doing this, and he holds it like he's just presenting it to you to take and look at.
Yeah, he'll pick it up and he'll examine it, test its weight.
Unfortunately, sir, we were only able to make about 10 of these. We had limited time. I do apologize for our lack of speed.
10 is quite enough, especially for the job I have intended, so this will be more than sufficient.
As you sit there, he goes, and your other blade, this one, and you can see he's very gently picking this one up. You notice it's glowing a greenish, but the blade looks like it's cracked, and the green is there as well, and it kind of pulses from the tip down to the hilt. And he picks it up. He flips it, but not as fast as the other one, and he grabs it, and you notice he's a little hesitant, and he goes, "This one, though, you need to be very careful with, sir." Again.
He'll grab the the hilt a little more gingerly than the other one.
He goes, "Watch the tip. That's the most dangerous." That is our viral blade, sir. It's... Let's just say the bot who manufactured it is still recovering after making them, and he was pleased with his work, but it is very dangerous. May cause some visual and auditory sensations that, let's just say, he thought he was somewhere else for a while. A long while.
So the runtime on the virus is quite significant.
Yes, sir. We found that it ran for at least, well, about 20 minutes, maybe longer, depending on how hard you hit them with it.
What about if they have a high-grade antivirus?
About 10 minutes, sir. We did test this on that. But it still affects them, as long as you can successfully hit them in the right spot. Which means anywhere, sir. And he's just like grinning as he's saying, like, "Yeah, you're good."
So long as their blades make contact, the virus can infect them from any position.
Yes, sir. One of our tests with this particular blade was ricocheted by accident. It infected the bot who was the test subject, and it affected 2 others in the process because the throw was not as accurate as yours, sir. So, yes, this blade is very finicky. So, we advise you take care in using these. He pulls out a belt-like thing that rolls up, and he goes, "I suggest you hold these blades within these sheaths to not prick yourself, sir."
Thank you. I appreciate the additional equipment.
You see all the other blades are in it, except for the one you're holding. And he's like, and he slides it forward on, and he goes, "Is anybody else looking for anything in particular?" And he looks to you, Void Striker.
He'll just kind of turn to the others. May as well gear up while you can.
I definitely wouldn't mind getting acquainted with a new weapon.
Well, what do you look for, sir? We have a variety. Anything in particular? You're an awfully big bot.
I was going to say, if I could make a comparison, As I'm going to place down my my energy sword onto the table.
Is that the Naginata?
Yeah,
He looks at it. Fascinating piece of work.
it's a Generation 1, so not many of it exist.
And he does something. It's like he knows how this thing fully works because he is a weapon master. He flips it and he turns it into the other, and he's like flipping it back and forth. Very well balanced. This one has been customized though, and he balances
Yeah,
it perfectly.
it has been a bit customized from its original design, mainly because since I'm big, I tended to want to use two-hand weaponry and on an off chance use only one-handed. So it worked perfectly well for me once it got modified.
Hmm.
Though on its own, it's reliable, it's durable, and not much can really compare to it.
No, there is one blade that is similar, and you see him tap on another part of this table, and it slides out. It's like your bag of holding in a sense. Gilgamesh has this thing. He has something similar, but it's a smaller state. You guys just kind of seen some of this. It's how they store smaller stuff. They don't have anything as big as what you have. And he pulls out. It looks like a staff at first. And he goes, "It's similar to this one, but this one," and he doesn't do anything. He just holds it and he puts it out and he kind of is holding it straight out. And you see a blade similar to what yours looks like pop out one side. And he goes, "But this one has," and as he flips it around in his hand, the other blade on the other end comes out and it extends out into like a double bladed staff end with two blades on each end. So he's sitting there twirling it and he stops it and he holds it and he goes, "This is not the only thing it does, sir." And he takes his other hand and he pops it apart and now he's got dual wield of them. And he goes, "These ones are version 3." And he
Hmm.
lights them up and he goes, "It's dependent on the bot who's holding them on their power level." You notice his is pretty, like those blades are ignited in some kind of energon heat blade. And he goes, "These ones are kind of unique though. Like I said, they work off whoever's holding them." And
A link weapon.
he folds it back up and it becomes this it's about in your size, it would be about a 6-foot staff. But it doesn't look it's not a staff. It's got these two blades. It can become two separate weapons. But he goes, "Well, you can use it as," and he holds it like he's holding a two-handed sword, and you see this longer blade comes out. The combination of both blades together, and it ignites again. And he goes,
So, so a versatile three-purpose weapon.
"Yes, you can use it as the staff, sir. It does a lot of damage. Not as much as this, though." And he retracts it back, and it goes back into the staff, and he sets it down on the table in front of you. "We have many choices, sir. If you like us to modify yours, we can. There is a few modifications we can add to it if need. But, not to be rude, sir, it is a little obsolete now. Still
That's why it's
useful.
memorable.
It is always good to have good memories of your weapons." And he kind of smiles at you.
Hmm.
And he runs his hand across your blade of yours, and he goes, "But it is a fine weapon. Very fine."
I'm gonna. Would it be fine if I handled it for a bit?
"Please do, sir. I would encourage my customers to experience the product. If they don't, how do we know if it would fit with them? If you'd like, why don't you take a test run with it over there?" And he throws out this like orb thing within an instant as he gestures. And he goes, "Go ahead, have some fun with it." It's almost like you're Luke Skywalker with the little ball test thing, and he goes, "Please enjoy. Let me know what you think." And as you do that, he looks over to you, Void Striker. "Sir, is there anything I might be able to assist you with? Although you look awfully familiar, sir. Have we met somewhere before?"
Possibly.
"You look very familiar." And he kind of gestures to your face where the dark energon is. And he goes, "Ah, the stories. Yes, yes. You're supposed to be dead, but you arise again." I
He
don't.
gets that a lot.
Yes, I could believe it. You, if you would like anything, please make a suggestion. We may have something that fits you. But in your case, sir, most of your stuff is way better than what we have.
You wouldn't happen to have any remote weapon platforms?
And he snaps his fingers, and suddenly a couple devices and boxes drop down. Like they come right off the side of his table, like they came out of nowhere. And he goes, "Something like these. They're portable. Just drop them and go. They will take care of the rest." "But I only have two, sir. That's all we had available."
Close, but not quite what I'm looking for.
"Very well." And he snaps and they disappear again, like they get sucked back up into a void.
For example, this is what I'm talking about. I'm going to activate one of my fangs and launch it up, and then retract it.
Hmm.
Except without the wire, obviously.
He comes out from around his table, and he looks at all as he passes by you, Gilgamesh, and he looks over at Overload, who's having fun, probably playing with the blade, and he looks but he looks. Let me see, and he starts walking around you. Could you lower yourself down so I could take a closer look?
I'll kneel down because big butt.
You feel him. Interesting design. We may have something. Give me a moment. And you can see him like tap to the side of his head as he walks away. And he's literally what he's doing is he's communicating. And then you hear him talk out loud. "Yes, please send them." "Yes, I think they would be a good test run." "Well, I have a client here who I will not charge for these. These are very interesting. And this client," and he turns and grins, "I think he can handle them just fine." "Yes, now, if I have to have you question me again, we will have issues. Remember? Thank you." And he goes, "Varish, if you can hear me, I need the space bridge open again. It will be a crate coming through." And Varish is like, "Space bridge opening. Confirmed location." And as you do, you see a cart roll through. You see two bots pushing it through on this levitation cart, and they look around like, and you can see Bernelli turns around and he looks and he goes, "Enough, go." It is always so hard to get good help around here at times. I apologize. I don't mean to be rude to them, but we've been on a time schedule to get things done as quickly as possible for weapons. But, Sir Void Striker, please try these out. And he pops open this huge crate and he pushes the lid up, and you see a they look like they're platinum with gold trimming. They're very similar to what you have, but he goes, "Just place your hand on them."
I will do so.
And you suddenly see like a coating, and suddenly your optics you see coding come up, and what it's doing is these things are being coded to you specifically. He goes, these are prototypes, but they are very strong. We haven't had anybody able to control them successfully, but they are very similar to your wired versions. Try these out. And there's about 4 of them. You can see them in there. They look like taloned blades almost, though. A little smoother, a little sleeker looking. And he goes, all you have to do is command them. Think.
I'm
Compute a little.
I'm gonna command them to just hover like next to me.
As you do, they immediately, you see 2 start to rise out of the box and move around slowly. And then you see the other 2 kind of come up, and they literally are hovering above you a little higher. He goes, the range on these can extend out to about 30 to 35 feet, sir. But I wouldn't suggest leaving them out there too long because the connection can be sporadic sometimes. We have improved that signaling, but in your hands, I think you might be able to improve them. They are the prototypes, sir. And he's kind of grinning like he knows your capabilities. He knows of Void Striker's
I'm gonna
skill.
test their mobility by having them like rapidly spin and move around me in rapid angles, by like moving in one angle then rapidly turning like a 90 degrees over and over again.
As you do this, you can see them whipping around. They're quieter. They don't hardly make a sound.
When I'm comfortable with how they work, I'm gonna have them attached to my back, like near where my fangs are.
As you do, you feel them integrate into you, and you can see Bernelli. He's kind of standing there, really watching. Fascinating. They work brilliantly for you, sir. But this is very impressive.
I'm going to take the crossbow off my arm and hand it to him. You're saying you need weapons, correct? Then use
Yes.
this as a basis for your things. As I'm putting it down, I'm gonna hit the switch so it goes into its base ballista mode.
He looks at that and he's holding it and he's looking at this. And he walks over to his table and he taps, and this compartment lowers down, and he pulls this case out and he sets it down. He goes, this is very similar to this one, and he pulls out this. It looks similar, but this one's like silver and gold looking. It's not like super shiny, but it's got that silvery look to it with gold trimmings. And he goes, and he puts it on his arm and he goes, and you see it do exactly almost the same transformation, but he goes, this one is a little better accuracy than this one, though. He goes, the sights, and he's comparing sights and everything. And he goes, interesting design, though. You've made some modifications here, it looks like, and this one is a completely different design underneath.
The thing that you'll be most interested in is this feature here. I'm going to be pointing out the fact that mine physically does not need to be reloaded.
He goes, oh, now that is very interesting. Unlimited? And he's looking past it, looking at you, like questioning. This is
It primarily requires no input from the user, but they can add specialized equipment to it.
Oh, so that is over here. This is fascinating. See,
You'll
this.
also notice the 12 modification points around as well.
Yes, yours is much better than this one because we're missing. Well, specifically, all of that. Would it be alright if I took a scan of this?
Be my guest.
And you see him put his away. He goes, thank you, sir. I appreciate this. It does help us advance our technology. And you see him set it on this platform that's off to the side, and you see some like a box come up around it, and you see it just these lasers start to scan down, and it's like bit by bit. Within a few moments, he's got a full scan of it in 3 dimension, and he goes, "That is very interesting." He starts just spinning the blueprint, and then you see him expand it out and start to literally digitally dissect this device now that you let him look at. And he goes,
You will have to find a material substitute because it is made from ancient materials.
and ancient materials are somewhat stronger in some aspects. I'll have to talk to the metallurgist. He might be able to come up with something. And he picks up yours and he goes, "Thank you for letting me look at this. Might be able to do something with it. We'll see what we can do, sir." And he hands it back
I'll
to you.
I'll take it back, switch it to crossbow mode, and put it back on my arm.
And you can still see him looking at the blueprint, and then he swipes it and it goes back down and it collapses. And he looks around. Is there anything else that you would like? Guy's kind of standing there and she's kind of hesitant on asking anything.
Did she land anywhere near me at all?
Yeah, she's kind of like right next to you.
I'm just gonna give her a slight push forwards.
She's like, and Bernelli kind of looks, uh, "May I help you? I will not bite much." And he kind of grins, and she's looking kind of unsure, like,
I kind of go over to Sky and like, go on. He's one of the best. Trust me.
okay. And so she approaches. Um, I have had this blade for a while. As she pulls this out, you're looking at similar blade to what you have, Gilgamesh. And she sets it down. And she goes, "It's been through a lot." Um, and he looks at it and he goes, "This is unusual. Where did you acquire this?" And he's like gesturing for name. Just call me Sky. Is fine. She's very hesitant on giving a full name or anything. The Sky is fine. It's his, but this material. This blade looks very similar to yours, sir. And he gestures toward you, Gilgamesh. And he looks back down, but the metal. And he runs his finger across hers, and he's looking at it. He goes, you can see her. She's almost about ready to grab the blade back because she like has. But this is very nice piece. And he kind of gestures, "May I?" Because he notices her little hesitations, and you notice his demeanor changes just slightly because of what she's doing, and she goes, and he picks it up very carefully with her nod, and he looks at it. He goes, "Hmm." And you can see him moving around, and he starts whipping it back and forth. And he goes, "This blade is very nice. I would not recommend modifying it though." And he holds it, and he ignites the blade on it, and her optics go wide. I've never got it to do that before.
Perhaps you have something complementary that might go with this kind of a blade?
No, but I may have something. And he kind of looks at Sky directly. He goes, he the blade deactivates and it goes back to its standard look. He flips it around and he holds out hilt first, and she gently takes it and she goes, "How did you get it to do the?" And she kind of hesitant, like, "I've never got the blade to do that before." He goes, he kind of looks at her and he relax the mind. And she's like, I don't know how to do that. When you are able to, you will be able to do that. Don't push yourself. And you hear this calm nature coming from Brunelli. But for now, I also have something. And he lays out this blade. This one is very sharp and very dangerous. He picks it up and he walks out. Overload, you're still fiddling with the little droid bot out there. He looks at the bot and it automatically addresses him. And he holds the blade, but he moves like he's like lightsaber blocking it, but it doesn't deflect. You notice the blade absorbs as he takes 3 shots and he whips the blade back and it fires out like some kind of razor blade like shot and it slices the drone in half without even getting close to it. He goes, unfortunately, you have to be in within 20 feet range for this to happen. Because you notice the blade dissipates almost instantly after that. And he goes, it is a very handy blade. And no, you don't have to ignite it, as you said. And he lays the blade back down for her to take. And he goes, you're more than welcome to try it out. And she goes, is it heavy, though? I'm used to quick light. I used to use heavy weapons, such as these. These blades are... He's like, please, like I told your friend over here, I like my customers to try the product. If they don't like it, they do not have to purchase it. And she looks and she nods and she comes up. She gently picks up the blade and she's expecting a lot of weight. And she lifts her hand up real fast. And the blade kind of lifts up and she goes, oh, this is surprisingly light. And you see Brunelli, how about you try it? And he flicks another drone out there. And he goes, oh, I'm sorry, my friend. I destroyed yours. And he flicks another one out. So you got something to play with, Overload.
I mean, I'm more or less getting the hang of this, since I'm used to weaponry turning to different forms. This is a good refresher.
As you are all standing there, then, you see Sky step up. Since you're not using yours as much, the little droids automatically adjust and start tracking 2 targets on her, and you notice her posture immediately shifts. And the blade, she maneuvers in a certain way. And Gilgamesh, you notice the style that she's fighting in, similar to what you were taught, but she moves in a little bit different ways. And it's unexpected, even from these little droid balls that are floating. She starts whipping the blade, catching shots fast. And she's caught about 10 of these shots. And Brunelli's just watching with fascination at how fast she's doing this. Between 2 little droid balls, she's actually tracking real fast. And he kind of leans over to you, Gilgamesh, and he goes, I didn't tell her that it improves accuracy and speed. She's handling this blade remarkably well. I am impressed. And
As am I.
she is moving with speed, but you also notice you don't hardly hear movement. It's like she is stealth right now. She's moving because she's doing this combat moves, and suddenly she just spins around in the air, and you can even see Bernelli kind of take a step back, like, what? She does this wild flourish. She spins, and this large arc of energy, like the blade he shot out, comes out, hits both droids, but goes a little further than the range he said. And she lands with such ease, and she goes, This is a very nice blade. And stands very calmly as she pulls out her other blade. I still like my original blade. And all of a sudden, as she says that, the blade ignites on her original. And she looks at it and she goes, and Bernelli just kind of grins. Peace of mind. Impressive. I won't charge for that blade, miss. You may have it. Not too many times I get impressed with maneuvers as yours have. And he kind of looks at you, Gilgamesh. Other than him, I've seen his work. And he goes, well, it seems that everybody has had something. Is there anything else I may be of assistance with? And he kind of looks, and he goes, oh, there is one last thing I was supposed to bring. And he leans down and he opens a compartment on his table and he reaches in. He pulls out this small thing. Widow said something about you possibly needing some devices. I have only one of these. It'll only work once. Unfortunately, even, and he looks at you, Void Striker, even with your adeptness, it will take maybe a millennia to figure out that. The power consumption of this little device is compacted so much it will burn out after the first use. And when we say burn out, we mean it melts down. And he holds out this little, it almost looks like a little ball, almost similar to what he threw out as the droids, but it's a little different. He goes, it's a portable space bridge in the sense of it's only got one use to open up a large space bridge. And he gestures to the one like he came through. And he goes, not made for any more than that because the distance, the power it uses, it literally melts it down.
So what you're saying is this is our method of extraction.
Or entrance. It's up to you on how you use it. I do not know how your workings of this mission I've only heard brief moments about. I'm here to provide you with weapons mainly.
Well, as always, Brunelli, your work is impeccable.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you for your assistance.
Oh, my pleasure, sir. For most of your stuff, Widow has covered the cost of it already. We are working together, so most of the cost is negligible, and he kind of waves it off. You just see him wave it off. But I am impressed at you, miss. And he bows to her slightly, and you see her kind of like embarrassed a little bit and bashful, like, oh, thank you for the blade, sir. I will take great care of it. And she's kind of like caught off guard because she's still not used to this world's ways of things, and she's still learning a lot. And you see Drift like, I've got my own blades, kind of look, and he holds out one of his fin blades that he's sitting there flipping in his hand, like, Aegis kind of chimes in, and he's like, my battle axe is better than anything they got. Kind of like, he couldn't compete. Bernelli looks around. Well, if there's nothing else needed, I will be off. Anytime you need me, sir.
Thank you again, Brunelli.
He bows. Varish, if you could, please. And he grabs the handle of the case he had, which is this table, and you immediately see it fold back down, and it's a long, looks like a long briefcase in some ways. So he turns, he bows to all of you, and he turns and walks through the space bridge back out. And the space bridge closes. Wavelength's like, that was interesting. And she goes, "Oh yes, Void Striker," and she immediately just like blew off everything that just happened. And she looks up at you. "Hey, I think I might I have something for you, but you need to be really careful with it." And she's like, "Bring your hand down here." And she's like waving your hand, like, "Get down here."
I'll do, sir.
So she takes your one hand, and you notice she's doing some modifications to your fingertips on your one hand. And she goes, "Okay, can you flex your fingers just a little bit?" And she's standing in your palm as you're doing this.
All right, I'll flex my clawed fingers.
You see on each of your fingertips these little needle prick like pins come out, and her head is really close to one, and she goes, "Oh, a little too close for comfort." And she leans back and stands up a bit. She goes, "Okay, try to relax them."
I'll
And
do, sir.
you see the needles flex back down in, and she goes, "Go ahead and move your fingers normally."
Yeah.
And she's just watching you do this, and like, "Don't stab anybody here with those. We'll die." And she walks away. "Oh, they're the rust needles." And she just turns and walks again. And she stops. "So be really careful with them."
I'll give her a thumbs up.
As you do that, one of the needles comes out.
My already sharp claws are now even sharper.
she she gets to the door. She goes, I think Addie said she has something too." And as she says that, Addie comes around, kind of running out. Tick's following excitedly, and Wavelength just like, "Oh, I guess we're going back this way." And so she comes out, and Addie's like, "Okay, I think I fixed the device, but it's still got limited range, but it won't be sporadic. As long as we know a location, we can go there." And as she says that, she has this thing on her wrist, and she goes, "And if it works right," and she hits the button by accident, and all you hear is "oh," and she disappears. And Tick's like, "Oh, she did it again." And you hear some like stuff falling or knocking over in one of your labs in the distance, and you can see Tick just let roll her optics. Ah. And you see Addie coming out, and she's like kicking off some stuff. "Okay, so it works, but make sure you don't, teleport yourself into the junk pile. I thought I said it over further." And she corrects it, and she goes, as she's standing by the door, she taps, and she teleports right back in front of you guys. And she goes, "It works, but now I got to let it recharge a little bit. It'll take a few moments. I didn't use a whole lot this time, but you can only really transport maybe 2 people. Um, I wouldn't highly recommend using this thing a whole lot, though. It seems still a little weird." And she kind of holds it up to you, Void Striker, like she's proud of what she got done. And Tick's standing there like, "Yeah, we kind of worked around the problem and we figured it out." But Addie's really excited. She goes, "I don't know if it'll help you guys at all."
As I take from her, I'm just gonna pat Addie's head a couple times.
She just looks really proud of herself for what she's done, and she looks down at Tick. "We did." And Tick's like, "Well, all I did was really just solder some stuff and weld up a few things here and there. That's all I really did. I didn't do much."
Doesn't matter how little you did, Tick. You still help.
"Yeah, I mean, I wish I could do more. You give me a second chance here, and you've all been really nice." And you notice Tick is not as afraid of all of you. She's a little hesitant on some things, but she looks at you, Gilgamesh. "At first, I was worried because I saw her and her diagram," and she points towards Sky, and Sky kind of tilts her head like, "Okay." "But you seem all pretty friendly, and you're not trying to kick me or hit me or throw me." or literally use me as a test experiment at once in a while to see if. And you can see her rubbing her head as well, anything. Wavelengths just standing there. What did they experiment on you? Well, shockwave, big shockwave, and she gestures with her hands like bigger. Um, he was doing a lot of experiments, and he tried to do a few on me, but he didn't like me yelling and screaming because it hurt, and he threw me. So yeah, I didn't like it. So I tried to avoid being in the labs where he was at, and I stayed away. I remember on the station being in the one area that was he got really mad at me for that. I tripped over a line and something to do with memories or something, and he kicked me out. It wasn't a good day. I think I just
Was he trying to extract memories from you or implant memories into you?
well, he was doing it to others with the memory part, and I was walking through the chamber that on the station that has all these other bots there. There's like a whole bunch, and it's technically what's powering some of the station as well. These bots, but they're you can see on some of the screen memories. Um, some of them are really weird. I've never seen any place like it. Weird creatures are on there too. They're like really small, like smaller than me, maybe. I mean, and I saw some bots in some of the holding tank stage storage, and they had like memory screens running, and it seemed like they were, I don't know, in another world. But I didn't see anything much after that because that's when I tripped, caused something to happen, and he got mad at me, and yeah. Don't go down to the other end. I heard a lot of screams down there. That's scary down there. I don't want to go down there. I saw that through the door of his lab once. Oh, no, no, no. You don't want to go down there. And she kind of
Is there
used to.
anything else that you can tell us about the station that you were on?
Well, I was only there for a short amount of time, but we were brought in through the one side where he comes in most of the time, and that's where um, some bots are brought in. They're a lot of times unconscious or they're in like stasis tubes almost. And then they're transported in kind of into that room with the memories, but some are brought elsewhere because I've seen them take down just before his lab, and there's like another room, and that's where some of the screams are heard. And you can see her kind of just like thinking and just kind of like off in a little world of thought, trying to think about this stuff. And she goes, and then the other room, I don't know what was over there. It was just a lot of whirring noise if the door ever opened once in a while. Usually a bot would come in and out. It's usually a data bot of some sort doing something. I never ask because, well, he gets mad, I get thrown or kicked again. It's really mean. I don't like it there. Even the other drone bots and that, they're not nice. I think it's just because I'm small and they don't see me. Addie's just kind of looking at her optics are kind of wide a little bit, like, and Tick doesn't realize that this is going on. She's just kind of talking away, and she goes, "If you go down the other side, it's more of a storage area. Oh, there's I do remember. I kind of saw it around the corner of some of the crates. He has like a ton of energon cubes, and it says, 'Do not shoot here,' or something like that." I only caught part of it, but it said "big boom" like explosive sign.
Mm.
I was told to go get some parts, and I did. And weird noises from some of the crates, but I didn't care. I wanted to do my job and get out of there, and then he was just mean. Yeah. And
Well,
you see her kind of fidgeting around. She goes, "Oh yeah, if you guys take the shuttle there, um, um, and you see it seems like she spaces off, like she just lost thought, but she's, oh yeah, I need to do that too." And Eddie's like, "Finish what your thought was before that." And she kind of looks over. Sorry, she kind of drifts off in thought some days. So and she's like, "Oh yeah, what was I talking about? Flight,
the
oh
shuttle.
shuttle, yeah, um, yeah. When you fly there, it's kind of rough. Uh, I just remember going through the one side, but yeah, it's kind of easy to get into. I mean, you just literally, as long as you walk out, you stay out of the way of the guards. They don't really, since I'm so small, they end up almost stepping on me anyway. But Shockwave goes into his lab and he does his thing, and I just do my thing in the other parts. Mainly, I'm told to stay over here if I don't. And then when he got mad after I tripped over the cable, I went back and he said, "Just get out of here. Go back to." And so I left, and and you see her kind of like almost like she's glitching, and she stops and she goes, "I was just told get out of here," so I went on the shuttle and left. And I remember being on a sandy planet. It was weird there. Oh, there's some creepy bot there. Oh my god. Oh, you should have seen her. She's ugly. Ugh. She had a lot of legs. Weird. She also climbed on the ceiling a couple times, which weirded me out. She wanted to eat me. Is that normal? And she kind of like Addie's like looking at her wide out, optics wide. No.
No, not really.
Oh. Okay. Good, because I didn't want to be eaten. Uh, there was another shockwave there. He's kind of interesting, but he's not the same color as the other shockwaves. I mean, this one was white with like purple on him. He was moving crates and stuff, and the creepy one with multiple legs, she told him to step on me, but he wouldn't step on me. I like him. He didn't step on me. Also, he didn't kick me, he didn't hit me. He still was being controlled. You could see the little control unit on his head. Um, I was told if I ever touched that, I would be, well, a piece of scrap. So I was too afraid to touch anything, but he was
So
actually
you're
kind of.
suggesting this white version of Shockwave is good?
Sky kind of steps up, and Tick kind of jumps back because how fast she moved up. Wait, are you telling me? Did he look? And she pulls up an image, and it's of her Shockwave from her universe. Did he look like this? And it's Shockwave standing at like parades and things and at different events, and he's not blasting anybody, he's not doing anything. And Tick goes, "Yeah, that's exactly what he looks like, but he's got like a little thing on his head. It looks like a control thing that Shockwave, the other Shockwave." And she's like, "Yeah, he's the mean one. You put it on him." Um, and Sky stands up. That's the Shockwave from my universe. And she shows you the image. It's like a white version of him with purple and the yellow optic, but she goes, "He's not the bad guy." Is she goes like evil? He's actually really nice. And Chick's like, "Oh yeah, he would. He like I said, the other one told him to step on me, and he wouldn't."
Hmm.
He's pretty big, So, but he was kind of nice when she wasn't giving him commands to move crates and do stuff. He generally was nice, but he really wasn't allowed to talk, so I don't know what he was thinking most of the time. This guy just kind of looking. Wait, so where is this at? And Tick's like, it's on the sandy planet somewhere. I just remember being there, and then we were taken off the planet to other places. So yeah,
This sandy planet. Do you remember where it was?
yeah, sort of. I think. I mean, it was sandy. It was rocky, kind of windy too. I just, I just didn't like that weird bot with all the legs. They're really creepy. Hey,
That bot with many legs. Did she ever tell you her name?
no, not really. But some of the other bots had mean names for her. But I think her name was Eva, Ava, Ava, something like that. It was weird. I didn't really pay too much attention to it because she was always mean and I didn't care to remember. Other than she was mean and she was creepy. I didn't like her.
I know that one very well.
Tick kind of looks at you, stops moving, and she slowly takes a few steps back. Is she a friend of yours? Like, isn't it?
A friend would be a rather laughable term. She's going to meet the business end of my blade.
Business and oh, so not friend, right?
No, not
She
even a little bit.
oh, so you get rid of the mean one. Maybe Shockwave. That Shockwave, the white one. He's I like him. He's nice. He at least didn't try to hurt me. And you see Tick just kind of drifts off. And you see Addie wave her hand in front of her face, and I think she checked out again. She just kind of drifted off. I was like, Addie goes, she does this once in a while where she's thinking, and then it's like she's kind of lost in her memory bank for a little bit, and she comes back with new ideas and new things.
It's fine. I think we've gathered as much info as we really can out of her at this point.
I'll pick her up and take her back and sit her down in the lab while I'm working on some stuff. Um, you see Addie kind of lean down. If you guys need me, just be careful with that device. I don't know how well it fully still works, but just be careful. And she walks away with Tick. Kind of looks like a big toddler being carried along. And she's like, Wavelength's like, I don't want to sound like that ever. Ugh. But she kind of looks around. Wavelength's like, so there's more than one shockwave. One of them's white. It may be good. This guy's looking down at Wavelength like, yes. So, Sandy Planet? And you can see her, one of her eyebrows kind of rises up like, what about this Sandy Planet? And she's generally looking around at all of you.
Well, we do know of one sandy planet anyway, but not entirely sure it's the right one.
As you're saying that, Kiara is kind of looking. She's come in and she's been there. She looks around and she goes, "Well, I did show these two," and she points toward Overload and Aegis. Some images updated of a sandy, rocky planet that may have something. And she pulls up like a full-on hologram in front of you guys, like an image, to show you, so that way you guys can see it. And she goes, "Yes, if you look over here, you can see the what looks like the in, intake and outtake where the shuttles land, and then there's a cave here. At least it looks like a cave. We can't get any deeper scans. Prometheus tried. Ash has been working on it with him, and this guy goes, Ash, that sounds awfully familiar. Hmm, similar. She kind of blows it off, and she goes, but Kiara continues on. She goes, this might be your location you're looking for.
All right, so are we able to get there ourselves, or do we need Prometheus's help?
You will need Prometheus's help because we can get you so far, but where that's located at is within range of certain places. And she's generally meaning the station itself. You don't want to set off the alarms. So to get in there, you're going to need those shuttles. And that's most likely where they're at. Our intel is still coming in on a lot of things. So far, this is what we've got. And she kind of gestures to all of you. If you're all going, load up. You can get to Prometheus. He's ready to receive you. Ash is prepping things from there to maybe get you closer onto the surface without having to come down from space itself and break atmo. She said there might be a possibility. And she shakes her head like, and a very strong possibility she can get you really close if you want to.
So I guess all that's left is just to finalize the plan with all of us.
And she looks around. Well, you're all here, so you can do that now, and Phoenix is right there. So it makes it even easier. You hear Phoenix, You said my name? Kiara's like, transport, plan of attack, things we're doing now. Oh, sorry, I was interested in some information Void Striker gave me. Yes, I can transport you all through the space bridge in one shot and have all our supplies at Prometheus.
So let's just kind of run down everything here. So we're going to be going to Prometheus. Prometheus will be sending us to this sandy world. And from here, this is where we are going to acquire the shuttles.
And Kiara looks at you and she goes, Yep, you got it. And Prometheus will be your staging area for everything else after that. He is prepared to do battle, but since he's
So
the last, he
this
says,
leads to the insertion method. I'll be able to get in there through the shuttles, but as far as getting the rest of you in, how are we going to approach this?
That is where I kind of come in. Because, well, I'd say me and Void, potentially. Since I have a device that allows us to teleport, but it's only one way, I'm hoping Void might be able to either reverse it or make it a two-way device.
Considering the time frame, I doubt I'd have enough time to modify it correctly.
Kiara kind of looks over at you. Well, you're going to be transported to Prometheus. It'll take them just a little bit of time to calculate an exact spot where you all want to drop in at. So you might have a little time on transit.
I can try and transit, but no promises. If need be, we can use the device Eddie just finished fixing to get in position and use that one-way space bridge device that was given to us.
Well, remember, she can only said it might be only able to transport 2. That's about it.
Well, if we're not able to get it reversed, if anything, uh, with the one-way device, we can use that to get ourselves in, and then my device I can set at where we need to be exit, and when we're in the station, well, in the facility. That way, at least we can still get out if need be.
Or you could
And
set one up inside Prometheus and give Gilgamesh the other half to set up once he gets into position.
Would that still be within its range?
I might be able to boost its signal range
but
easier than I will be able to make it two-way.
that
Nope.
is a bit where the problem lies. Is that Gilgamesh can get out, but we can't go in. Hence, a one-way device.
But you do have the space bridge device now, too. That will only work
Which is
once.
why I'm thinking it's best to use his one way to get you
Mhm.
guys in, and then I use the device that was given to us as our exit strategy.
Yeah, you can use it as the exit or entrance. Overload's device works as you put down the exit where you're at, that you want to come out at, and then you place the entrance elsewhere. I gotta remember that because I confused myself with it.
Wouldn't it also work the other way around by placing the entrance first, then placing the exit later?
But his device also is limited on range, so.
That's why I'm saying I might be able to modify its
Yep.
range to be further.
And I will tell you, you will have a moment to actually do
Wait, so
something.
am I able to place entrance first and then exit?
It's technically you're supposed to be placing exit first, then entrance.
Yeah, because it's
I
only a
mix
one-way
myself.
device.
Yeah,
So you would have to lay down your exit first, and then you lay down your entrance.
I do apologize
so
if I
then-
mix that up because I do
But
mess
there
it up.
is
No,
a
I
way
follow you.
to.
Yeah.
I know what you
There
mean.
is a way that we could possibly use this via the telepathic, the minicon telepathic part. If, say, for instance, wavelength goes with Gilgamesh, Gilgamesh can place the exit down first before we place the entrance. Wavelength can send the telepathic link. Hey, look, entrance is down. We can then place the exit,
Oops, excuse me.
the other part down. So technically, the exit's down first, and then we place the entrance. Still fits within the requirement.
Okay.
Is that possible?
I'm confused. Is that not what I said?
I don't know. Hey, it works. We'll make it work. Okay, there we go. Like, I don't want to think about that anymore. My
Because
head
that's
hurts.
I mean,
Because that's what I said originally as well, but then everybody's like, "Oh, don't I have to place the exit first?" It's like,
We'll figure it out as it goes. How's that?
I was
yeah,
just
because
wondering if we
you
could
you
do
have
it
to put it
to do
down where you want us to come out in the first place, and then
Yeah.
you have to lay down the one that you're going to be entering into, because that's. I mean,
Yeah.
that's kind of how that has
Because-
to work.
Yeah.
The
Okay,
way
yeah.
we can use it is if Gilgamesh takes the exit with him and places it down first, we can have other bots on Prometheus waiting to go through. So when the entrance goes down, that one-way door can lead a full-on boarding party or strike team in to get into a better position to then activate the giant one-way space bridge for the rest of the people to come in.
That's what I've been saying. Is
Yeah,
that
I was on page with you, Dave, but other people weren't. I'm just explaining step by step.
I'm just
So
letting you
hopefully they
guys
can get on the
figure
same
this
page.
out
Well,
at this point. My
again-
brain hurts.
Again, that's more or less the
I'm
concept
on
I was-
board. So yeah.
All
Yeah,
right.
because again, that's more or less the concept I was given. So
Carbine's just
No,
sitting
I
over
I
I'm
totally
confused
understand my role in this. Like I'm laying down the portal for you guys to enter into, and then when we're done, I'm going to use the device that we were given as our exit strategy.
This guy's just
Okay.
looking between all of you. It even drifts like, dudes. We're good.
Yeah,
And
so
he just turns and
I'm
walks
going
into
to
Phoenix.
I'm going to send Wavelength with you, by the way, Gilgamesh.
She's a cat too. She's got some stealth to her.
Well,
Also,
not even just in bot mode, just have her connect to Gilgamesh.
oh, you want to do that now, huh?
Not powering, just normal connection.
Bleep. So, you guys can get on Phoenix if you want and head to Prometheus. Man, I already forgot his name. Wow, I'm good.
Yep. I mean, at this point, we'll all just be getting on board and just starting
Yes.
that
And
journey.
you see Steel out there. He goes, you can see him disconnecting lines from Phoenix that was charging him up and keeping him running. And you can see him down. He goes, all supplies are loaded. You're ready to go. And Phoenix is like, well, everybody aboard, come aboard. Please place your trays and seats in their upright position because it's going to be a
Real
short ride.
quick, because I forgot to write this down. How many of the viral
Oh,
blades did I get?
there's 10 of those as well.
10 is okay. So
Yeah.
I've got 10 of each.
Yeah.
Man, I gotta write down the staff now.
I technically now have 8 fangs at the moment, don't I?
Uh-huh. There's a reason why you guys are getting buffed up, though. Yeah.
So what would be the damages for our weapons?
Yours specifically, I actually have not fully made up the stats for it, but it is a lot. It's a version 3, so you're technically doubling a lot of your old stats for your Nagana. God, did I even say it right the first time?
You did actually say it right the first time.
But
That's
my
why
words afterwards just kind of went in. I'm like, oh, I can't talk. Okay,
So I would have double the damage of my Naginata?
yeah. Actually, wait a minute. What
Are
are
you
your stats?
sure on that?
Wait a
Because
minute.
if it's double
I'm
my
thinking I might be
damage, that
thinking of
would be
hers.
60-10.
Hang on. Where is your? Oh God, I can't look it under that one because it messes with me. Hang
Yeah, because I
on.
was gonna say, because my Naginata is 3d10. So if that's double, that's 6.
Oh,
yeah,
no,
you give
wrong.
60, 10. Holy shit.
Well, you might
Like
need it
I
after
know,
all.
I want a strong weapon, but I
Hang
think
on,
that's a
I
bit
gotta look.
Yeah.
overkill even for me.
Yours
Double
might
check
be.
that shit, because that's a bit much.
Oh no, it's. Oops,
Like I was expecting
that's
it like
wrong
to
blade.
be like a
Sorry,
3D,
wrong
a
blade.
3D like 12.
No,
Yeah, 'cause I was
you're.
thinking that like if it was like a 3D12 plus like what my vengeance plus damage would
No,
be,
okay,
then
no, yeah,
you
that's
know
her
that'd
blade,
be
not
good.
yours.
But if it,
Sky's
yeah,
blade does a
because I
lot
was
of
gonna say like
damage.
if it's like a, because I was gonna say if it's like a 3D12 or like 4D10, then, I mean that's pretty
I'm
good for me.
I'm also thinking because her blade, when she did that one maneuver, that's actually she can do a ton of damage, but to roll for it is going to be hard for her because I'm like, I didn't set it to make it easy. This way, it was balanced a little bit. I didn't want it too overkill, so I mixed up your numbers with hers because I'm like, there's
Because
some
I know
similar things to each of your guys' weapons on some of these things, so
because
I gotta be
I know I
careful.
also wanted to like get, because I
Embarrassing.
know I wanted to get Baja to like do his like whole sciencey stuff on it, see if he can improve it.
Well, you got Bernelli for that. He can do a lot of things. Actually, it's not just Bernelli. There is a whole weapons crew out there that does this stuff. So it's like, they can do a little more at times depending on what you're looking for. It just, like what he said, they experiment with their own weapons, and some of them do have an effect, and it's not nice.
Because I would definitely like to have like the tri-staff to like have a like probably like an elemental effect maybe, if that even is possible or applicable.
I might have to work on that one a little bit. We'll figure it out.
Because if anything, I probably like, because like if when it goes like to the twin blade maybe then like have it like it's a a return blade kind of thing.
Oh, kind of like what Sky has with the feather blades.
Kind of, yeah.
Yeah, because she can fire them about 20 feet and then retract, like pull them back. As long as she's within that range, she can pull it back. So we could do something similar to that with these, but it would have to still
Well,
be
'cause
a certain range.
I also don't have like the artificer fucking modification list. So I don't know the entirety.
Forgot that. I'll leave it alone. I'm just thinking
I
of
have
something
the
else that I have.
list.
He
So,
has the list.
I'm more just trying to like figure out what modification would be good.
Well, what you gotta understand is the artificer modification list is a generalized guideline, and then it's more or less what the DM will allow the artificer to get away with.
yeah, bah. So, are you guys getting on Phoenix so you can go to Prometheus?
Oh yeah, we
Okay.
should all be getting
Okay.
on at this point.
So, at this point, Varish opens the gateway, space bridge, and Phoenix you feel him kind of moving the ship around as you're getting up there, Gilgamesh, the pilot, too. And he's like, you can hear him, all right, this might be a bumpy ride, people. Let's settle down back there, please. No running about the cabin. And he goes, and if you are, too bad. And he kind of pushes through the space bridge. And as you guys come through, you can see on the other side the hangar that you've been in before. It's much more improved. It looks cleaned up more. And you can see a nice spot for you guys to land. And Phoenix comes in, he rotates to where he's more aimed out the hangar door if he needs. And he opens up the hangar door below. And you guys are all there. You see this small bot standing there, and she's holding like a small tablet, kind of crossed arm, holding it. And she looks, welcome back, my friends. And it's Ash. And she kind of looks around. And she stops and she looks at specifically one person. You look awfully familiar. Have we met before? And she's looking right at Sky. And Sky's looking, kind of locks onto her, and she goes, Ashen? And you see Ash's optics go a little wider. She goes, Skylight? What? How? Wait, are you? And they're both kind of doing these gestures like, yeah, I think I. Oh, did you? How did you? But. And they're both a little confused at this moment. And she's like, Ash puts her hands out. Okay. So, long story I'll explain in a moment. But it's really good to see you. But not in this situation. Since we're both here. And Sky kind of runs up to her and gets down close to her. And she goes, it's really good to see you. And they hug because they know each other. Sky goes, Shockwave's here too. Our Shockwave. And Ash is like, wait. Our Shockwave? But how? What? Well, the portal, that would make sense. And yes, Prometheus. And you see Ash kind of stop. Sorry. Titan. Sky kind of looks around. Wait. She looks back at all of you. We're on a Titan?
Yeah.
You wouldn't think it, but we are.
This is a Titan. And you hear this kind of booming voice. Yes. I am Prometheus. And she kind of comes to a staggered stance like, what? Ash is like, it's all right, Sky. He's our friend. And
We've met before.
and she's like, Titan though? So wait, you could, and she's putting it together. Yes, I can communicate with him because I am now his headmaster. And Sky goes, okay, Nobody told me this. Kind of looking back, like attitude with everything for a moment. She goes, but no, it is really good to see you. We'll catch up in a moment. And Ash is like, yes, please come. Uh, much to discuss. Let's get you situated to find out what your next steps are from here. And
As
also,
I'm stepping off of Phoenix, I'm just gonna be giving Prometheus an updated data packet on new information and stuff.
he receives it, and Ash responds for him, and she's like, he got it, Void Striker, thank you. And she's like, please. And so she leads you guys back to the promenade area. And Sky is just looking at all this, and she's taking it in like a little kid looking around and everything. And Ash is just kind of like, it is really good to see you, my friend. And she looks at you, Overload, but you're a little bit, and she gestures to all of you. Um, what's the word I'm looking for? Scalier. And teeth. And she kind of does the,
Yeah.
He has had an update in his appearance.
yeah. A lot of appearance. This wasn't my doing, was it? And she kind of gestures.
Initially,
But not
but
my.
I more or less got used to it in a sense.
Ah. Well, I'm glad to see you're still around, Overload. It is good to see you, my friend.
Indeed.
But, anyways, please, I brought out refreshments and food if you're needing energy. Drift kind of is there. Or no, Drift isn't there. Actually, he would kind of be there. He would be coming with you guys only so far, but he's staying there. He kind of looks around and he's like, food. More food. It's just like Sky is looking out the windows from the promenade from you guys. Ash kind of
I'm gonna turn to Sky because the plan is for Drift to somewhat stay behind with the group. I'm going to offer Sky the wavelength to go with her, so she still has minicon support, and I'll take Drift with me. And when we meet back up, we can swap again.
in Drift kind of looks at you, dude. Awesome. And he kind of turns into his turtle form, floats up to the top right next to your head, and transforms and lands on your shoulder in bot form. He's like, so it's us dudes. All right, okay, we can do this. Wavelengths like walks over to Sky, and Sky can see planets, space, and she's just standing there. She's not really saying anything, but Wavelength kind of walks over, and she looks up at her. She doesn't say anything to her, but she's observing what she's looking at. Is it because this is not your world, but ours? Or is it just all taken in? And she's very, like, kind of analytical in a sense with the way she's talking. Guy just shakes her head. It's a whole new universe for me. For us. And Ash can hear this. You all can actually hear this. Ash turns. Yes, my world wasn't this at first, though. Sky slowly turns. So how many of us are here and not in ours? Ash just, I don't know. But if Shockwave's here, we might have a chance.
Do you two both have enough faith in your shockwave that he
Sky
might not be turned?
Sky comes running up, like she turns and immediately kind of jogs over real quick, really fast. Oh, he's brilliant. He's kind, he's gentle. He's And they kind of both say it at the same time, he's just good. He, if what Tick said, this guy kind of brings up, he's still in there. Might have a chance if we can break him free of it. And Ash goes, that would explain some of the energy signatures that Prometheus and I have picked up. And she waves her hand. She doesn't even pull out the tablet she has. She just waves her hand, and this huge screen pops up. And she kind of gestures. And Overload and Aegis, you two would know this map. Immediately, you know every detail of it. But there's more to it. The rest of you just saw this map. You guys see the valley, kind of like the canyon that the cave is in. We were able to take a little more of a scan, but we were able to pick up the signals. There's a pretty strong signal, but there's not just one, there's two. The one is stronger than the other, and she kind of like she's tapping on the screen, but you see her gesture with her finger, and it highlights there and there the last signals were. And you notice the one is like around little dots. And she goes, from what we can tell, those look like crates or something. And the last image, you can actually see a shuttle sitting there. They're kind of regular. They come and go. The next one should be in, it would be like a couple hours. Should show up, and they should be either dropping off or picking up. But they do regular trips into the voided section that you guys call the voided section. But you already all have the maps, so you know that they're going to that station. So but these are the locations. We can drop you off, and she kind of gestures in a circle radius. And it's pretty big. She goes, we can put you pretty close to the canyon, but that might alert them to your presence. So we recommend a little further to the south. And then you can approach from that way, or you can come from the north and come from that way. It'll keep you in cover on both sides as long as you stay from the north and south. If you approach either other direction, west or east, you'll probably get spotted right away.
So our best options are to either come from the north or from the south.
That is correct.
Well, is there higher terrain on the north or south sides, or are they just the same elevation?
The north side does have a few peaks that you might be able to utilize for a better visual. The south side, it does not really have, and she kind of gestures where they're at. The best she goes, but our topography is not the greatest. So the only way we can tell is by the shadowing, and she points to the north side. This is pretty tall over here. The south, it looks like you got some areas, but that's a guess. You would have to find out when you're there.
Well, if our best chance between elevation and either the north or the south sides, I'd say we take the north. We can get a visual on what's going on from above before we enter in.
Very well. If you wish to approach from the north, probably is your best option. And you see her kind of put her fingers to her head for a moment. She says, yes, Prometheus. He suggests that as well, but he also suggests take very high caution state in this situation, because those power signatures, one of them is very strong. He doesn't exactly know what it is, but he thinks it might be a large bot of some sort. The other one...
All the more reason for us to take up a sniper position just in case.
Absolutely. Is there anything you require while you're here? Phoenix is seeming to be in a very nice state of affairs. Do you all need anything? Refreshments? I have here, but is there anything else I might be able to assist you with? Other than the space bridge, and she waves her hand and the screen disappears. And you see these spots open up, and a newer space bridge kind of rises out of the floor. We've updated a few things here too. A little more accuracy on space bridge.
Gilgamesh should probably grab a a little bit to eat, just a quick top off his energy before going in.
Sky kind of
Sure.
hangs with Ash, and you can hear them talking. They're generally going, "How did you get here?" You hear Ash's story of how, and you see Sky looking at you, Overload, a few times, like, "You caused him to be like this." And you can actually hear this. You guys, they're not too far away from you. But you see, they do come over and sit with you, and they eat. They have some drink, and they're talking away about all this stuff happening and how they got there. And Ash kind of looks around, and she kind of briefly looks at Sky again, and then she looks back. The possibility our shockwave is down on that planet. Is there a way to save him?
I suppose it's always possible. Though we don't know what his current state is, and frankly, I'd be a little wary to bring him back to the station given current circumstances. But we'll make that assessment when the time comes. We won't know what his condition will be when we get there.
Apologies, I'm gonna head out. I can't focus. ADHD's in full swing.
It's all right. You guys are chilling for the moment anyway, so go ahead.
You guys have fun with the rest of the session.
Hmm.
So, as you guys are sitting there, Ash kind of goes, from what information Kiara has sent over and what we have had, if he's just being controlled, and from my understanding that if he isn't hurting another bot and he doesn't want to, he must be resisting programming.
He
Or
should have a strong enough willpower to resist the commands,
you
at least to
see,
an extent.
you say that Ash and Sky look at each other. He is pretty powerful, but he's always been good, so he's got to be
But
still in there.
to have him reduced to just doing menial labor?
It's probably because his willpower is too strong, so he can't be asked to do more important things. Since if his willpower is too strong, he might have a chance to break free, escape with any sort of knowledge.
Well, if there is a chance, you would have a powerful ally. He's not one to fight, but he will if he needs to. And he is very strong.
You do understand our hesitancy given our circumstances and our own run-in with our current shockwave of this universe.
No, absolutely. I've been doing a lot of research, and Prometheus has filled me in. It is
The
fascinating.
shockwave of our universe has done some rather monstrous things.
Yes, Prometheus filled me in on those too, and she kind of rolls her optics like, yeah, I don't wish to continue that part of that conversation. She kind of gets really nervous, and Sky's like, how bad is it then? And she's like, you'd have to read more of the files. It's disturbing on so many levels. This is not what anything of our shockwave would do.
Needless to say, the short version is he's done terrible things to Minicons, Cybertronians, Organics.
You feel the tension from
Basically,
the
many things that some cultures might consider war crimes.
You can see Carbine kind of tensing up. Even Aegis like, yeah, all the minicons literally are just kind of like, eh. So it's one of those
Believe me
moments.
when I tell you, bringing him on board the station may not be the best idea, especially given what the minicons have been through. Seeing him, even with the context of this one may be a good one, is still not going to inspire a lot of faith.
We can understand why. There's still hope, though.
I'm
Ash,
willing to entertain this prospect, but I'm just letting you know he may not be as welcome among others.
he's always been very understanding about these things, so let's just keep hope. Maybe he's got to still be in there. Even Sky's like he's just so kind and he's understanding. We'll
Like I
see what we
said,
can
we
do.
will assess his situation when we come upon it, and we'll determine what to do from there.
As you finish that, you see Ash kind of update on the images, and she waves her hand again, and the screens come back up. But this time they're in front of you guys at the table, and she kind of gestures. Looks like there is something there. There's 2 shuttles now. Looks like they're offloading some crates, or these look a little longer in the picture. We've deduced they're got small energy signatures. We've noticed there are a few smaller bots around with the energy signatures we've deduced. We can see they're moving some items. We're not sure what they are, though. But we have a terrible feeling after, yes, reading the shockwave files of your universe, what they are and who they are.
Well, we might be able to intercept these same materials when we do take the station. Or rather, not the station, but the depot that the shuttles are at.
Yes, it will be trials and errors of things that are going to happen during this time. Is there anything else you would all need from me? I need to take care of a few things with Prometheus. If you'd like, you can enjoy the food and drink. We'll prep the space bridge and we'll make sure you get there safely. And then if you need to get back here, we got communications from here to there easily. Just radio us real quick and we'll get you back.
And Gilgamesh will just be eating and just kind of sitting tight and waiting until it's time.
Carbine kind of gets down. She's walking along in her little careful form, and it's like you can see her tentacle arm pick up like what looks like almost like an apple. She goes, "Ooh, what's this?" And she takes a bite. And she goes, interesting flavor." And she keeps eating it. She kind of sits there, has her tentacle arm just holding it while she's eating it. She generally kind of just feels a little calm right now, but you know there's some tension feeling going on because of what's coming up. She looks around at all of you. She's kind of like, so we get down to the planet, try and take a shuttle, or at least hitch a ride on a shuttle, and get to the station, right?
Pretty much.
Okay. And we may run into an old friend, and you feel that, like it's like a dreaded feeling from her. but it's also like I know I screwed up, but I wasn't really in control of myself when that happened because of what happened last time you encountered her. And she's really
Well,
not
you
like
want to get back at her for what she did to you, don't you?
I do, but that wasn't my place to do that to her. That was your taking, not mine. And she's not really making any eye contact with you because it's in a way of feeling ashamed of what happened because in a sense she took your kill is what it is.
But you know that wasn't her, that was a clone.
Yes, but
So, really, you didn't take anything from me. She had already taken it from me in the first place and denied me her true kill. But that's gonna be corrected anyway, so you never really stole anything from me.
oh, I
And you
guess
shouldn't
not.
feel that way either.
And you kind of feel her a little. It's more like a confusion state in her head. She's like thinking, "Oh, let's hope she's not a clone this time." And she dead stares you like she's angry. It's just kind of funny. This look she's giving you in this character form is like, she better not be a clone. That's all she's thinking. It's like,
Either way, we have unfinished business with her, and that will be dealt with if she does happen to show her face.
you see her, yeah, and she flicks out her claws off of one of her paws, and she retracts it back. Ugh. She's kind of grumpy about it, but she goes, "So, when do we leave?"
Well, the shuttle says it was going to be, what, a few hours?
And at
So,
this point, you're down to like an hour and 15 minutes. Time flown by because Ash was filling in Sky. You guys were sitting there eating, and she kind of filled you guys in.
so what, we say roughly about an hour before we're going to depart?
You see her ears perk up. Oh, good. Then I could go explore a little bit. Maybe find that training room that's around here somewhere. And as she says that, a line on the floor pulses. She looks at it intently and she watches it. And she hops down and she starts following the pulse. She starts running faster and faster after it.
Don't wander off too far.
Yeah, yeah. And the tentacle kind of flicks up, like, yeah, yeah. And she's off. And you can see her run into her room and she's, ooh. And then the doors close behind her. And suddenly you just hear her, like, you hear things activating, like she's going into training mode. Like she wants to do some stuff. Wavelength is just kind of sitting near Sky mostly right now. She's not doing too much. She's kind of eating some stuff. Like she's analyzing it. She's like, oh, this is interesting flavors. That one I do not like. Ew. And she just drops it on the table to the side. Keeps trying little pieces of something. And Sky kind of like, you're an interesting one. I am? I don't think I am. Hmm. I think he's interesting. And she points toward you, Gilgamesh. And him, too. And points towards you, Overload. These two are fascinating. One was, in a sense, mutated. The other one was... Well, I don't understand how your form changed. I've looked over your analysis on both of your bodies, and it's, interesting. Then she goes right back to testing things. She's like, whatever. I'll look at it later. And she keeps testing stuff. Sky looks down at her again. She shakes her head. Okay. So, in due time, we'll be leaving. But since we got a little time, I think I'm going to take a walk around here. This place is huge. Sorry, the Titan is huge because it's a Titan. I've never seen one. I've actually never been like this in one. And she stands up to look around and she goes, I think I'd like to look around a little bit. I wonder, does he have kind of like a history or like a log of everything?
I'm sure he does, but I can't imagine you're going to have enough time to comb through its history with great detail.
And you suddenly see another line pop up and it starts pulsing and it goes down a
But
direction.
nonetheless, he's going to show you what he can anyway.
Oh, well, I won't be as enthusiastic as Carbine was. But she kind of transforms into hers. But I think I'll give it a shot this time. You see the white displacer beast like you, but in white form with blue eyes, and she goes. She kind of winks and then she runs off real fast, padding along. You hear all six legs running, and you can just hear. You kind of feel like it's like they're excited about these moments, and they're just trying to do. And she follows the line, but she's not chasing the pulse. She's just following the line. And she runs a good distance. You kind of hear her pad out a distance, literally. You guys are sitting there. Ash comes back down and she goes, "Ah, they've went off to explore. Prometheus told me." She kind of sits down at the table next to you, Overload. She goes, "You guys are going to go to a place that is very dangerous. We have been listening to the radio waves. Any communications, any kind of signals. People, alien species, other Cybertronian bots have disappeared. We've been listening a lot. And it's not good. But there is a lot going on that people are suspecting some kind of war or a fight. They're preparing. We just
As
don't
are
know.
we.
We just don't know their extent of how, what, and what they know. But we will get you as close as we can and get you on that station. There was something I did not want to bring up in front of, well, Sky. As is, she's fascinated by the Titan right now. There may be another Titan. And you see Ash puts her fingers to her head. Yes, Prometheus. I know. Ash kind of puts her hand on your arm, Overload. There may be another Titan. But this Titan, well, may not be all there anymore. And she waves her hand up, and the screen comes up for all of you to see. So it's Overload, Aegis, Gilgamesh. You guys all see this, and you see the station. It's not the greatest image, but it's pretty good. You can see what looks like two docks on each end of it. But she goes, Prometheus, and you see a scan done. Ran a scan on it, and this was one of the Titans. He doesn't know exactly which one because it's so disorganized now.
Do you know if it was from this universe or another?
This universe. We did run some scans to make sure. We compared it to mine. No, it's from this universe. It's one of the, as Prometheus put it, one of his friends from a long time ago that disappeared. And we think this is what happened to them. He was taken over and disassembled, in a sense.
I'm not really understanding, though, why were you hesitant to mention this information to Sky when it's not related to her universe?
It's what's inside of it that is from our universe. It is from another Titan from that universe. And it's not a good one. We don't know if this thing can transform or if it's even sentient. We just know there are signals. And
Okay,
really...
so let me wrap my head around this. You're suggesting that they brought materials from a Titan from another universe and put it on the dead remnants of a Titan of this universe.
They're not absolutely sure why and what's going on themselves, other than this is what their scans are picking up, and what they're finding out is that there are pieces here and there, and they're incorporated from two different things. She just didn't want Sky to know that there is possibility of another right now, because the way the situation is, she will let her know in a moment, but it's not right now. She wanted to talk to you guys directly without others because you're more directly involved now. And Ash is generally trying to play between Prometheus and you guys right now. So she's trying to translate everything he's doing to give you. And that's why she keeps putting her fingers to her head. It's like getting a headache. And he's like trying to say, hey, do this. Tell them this now. I can't communicate this myself all the time. And he's trying to really push the issues with it. Right now, Ash is looking at you guys. When the time...
All right.
There could be a chance it could transform, but we don't think so. We don't know what it's capable of fully inside of this thing. Just be careful. We did pick up, and she points to the image and the scans, and she goes, specifically in this area, there are two large signals of energy, and she highlights it, and you can see it's kind of in this section between, from what Tick has described as a stasis area, and this other area that she said not to go to. And from what Ash is giving you guys, you can see there's hangar bays here and here, but we did notice certain things went to the one hangar as others went to here. We think this one is like the drones and everything, because that's what flies out. That's what we notice. It's like troop transports. They're getting dropped off and picked up. And it's for smaller cargo. The other side, that's where these longer items in the image are going. You're going to have to be careful on there, because whatever the signals are, it varies at times. We're still getting blocked in some aspect of our signaling. We're trying to find out what exactly is going on, but we took a little risk getting a little closer, and we almost got spotted. Thankfully, Prometheus can move a little faster now thanks to all the repairs that were done. And we hid behind a planet for a little while. We were hoping we could get more for you guys, but they have some pretty powerful weapons. And we don't want to take the chance of losing another Titan right now. And she kind of pats the table.
Well, you do understand the nature of this mission is basically tantamount to a smash and grab.
Yes, I do understand that. Oh, Oh, my nose. Sorry.
Not to damper what you're saying here or to dismiss it, but there's no turning back on this. When we go aboard, we're going in and we're basically blitzkrieging.
Understood.
We're moving as fast as possible, gathering everything we can, stealing everything that we can, and if it comes to pass, we might have to burn the house down.
Yes, there are multiple different signals in there of different things. We're not sure what they are, so smash and grab all you can. She kind of gets a little excited on this part. You might find some interesting things. Also, that station isn't being powered by whatever's up there, really. It's getting provided power. It does have its own power bank from what we can see. But the power isn't coming from the station. And it's not on board the station, really. And she gestures to the picture and she goes, it's tethered to the planet down below. Overlord, you feel Aegis's talons kind of dig into you a little bit as she says that, because that's their home planet. Wavelength sitting there and she goes, wait, they're using our home as a power supply. Our home is just the planet. What would it have in it? I mean, I'm the oldest one here of the mini-cons, and
They've either reactivated something within the planets, or they have planted a generator on the surface that is transmitting the energy up to them.
That is very
Either
well
way,
possible.
they are using your former world as a base of operations.
Aegis is like visibly, you can see he's kind of lit up a little bit, and he Overload. You can feel he's mad, but he's keeping it as best he can. Wavelength kind of stands up. She kind of climbs onto the table and looks at the image closer. So if we break the tether, they lose the station.
But we need the station up and running until we gather all the information out of it, and then we can drop its power.
Yes, we can do this. I can hack into the system, but I just need to be on board, because I'm assuming we cannot. And she turns to Ash, remote access it? Ash, like, no, that would give away our location. Yes.
No, all we need is a simple remote detonator.
That could be done. But if you can get me on board, Wavelength's kind of thinking, I can get information. I just have to find the servers. They have systems somewhere in there. I know they have. They have to.
Well, this place that we're going to for the shuttles, is it not connected to the same location that's connected to their power?
Well, the shuttles are on the sand planet, and you're going to take the shuttle to get to the station. So once you're on the station, you can do whatever you want there.
Oh, I'm sorry. Like above game, I thought like it was we're going to the Minicon homeworld to get the shuttle that's gonna go up to the station.
No, you're actually going to a smaller planet where they've been. Shockwave was smart enough to do it onto a whole other planet, so he didn't have it trailing back to you guys or to him directly like that. He didn't want it to be like, oh, we go to this planet and boom. He's trying to think, in a sense, like a stealth, because they're literally in the void that has been erased from your guys' records. Well, people are finding these records, and they're finding these planets that have been destroyed and stripped of energy. And the planet that he's using as a jump point, literally, for stuff, that's where Shockwave and Ava are at.
Okay, yeah, I was just thinking they were
So
connected
you're doing a
because
bounce.
I was just thinking like we could just like put a bomb on the thing, and then when it comes time for us to depart, we can just detonate it on the planet and then cause havoc on the way out the door.
You still can. It'll be fun for you if you choose to. When we get to that point, you'll have your fun. It'll be fun.
Yeah.
So, Ash is like, well, you guys have your work cut out for you. It looks like it is about, and she kind of swings her hand up. Yes, it looks like it's about time for you guys to depart from here. I will signal the others to return to you here. And before she even does it, Prometheus, you see lines coming back, like they're pulsing back, and it was like you hear like a little chime. And Carbine comes running out of this one room, and she's like, "Oh, that was so much fun." Her claws are kind of digging into the floor, and she's like, "Oops, sorry." And Ash is like, "He said it's okay." And Carbine comes running up, and she literally jumps up onto your shoulder, and she's like, "That was so much fun, so much."
Well, I'm glad you had a little fun, but now it's gonna be time to get serious because we're gonna be departing soon.
As you see Sky walking back, but she's slowly walking back, and she's kind of looking down, and she kind of looks out the side windows, and she gets closer to you guys. He told me, Ash. And you see Ash roller optics. Prometheus, could you not? Kind of look. Yeah. And she's like, it's okay. I know we're in another universe. There's the weird things happening here. It'll be okay. Let's just see if we can get Shockwave back. And it would be nice to have another ally, especially him, if we can. She kind of looks kind of like, I really hope we can do this and get him back. And she kind of looks over at Wavelength. So, partner, you ready to go? Wavelength's like, partner? Yes, I am your partner for now. And this guy's like, it's just a term I'm using. Uh, oh, okay. She kind of, Wavelength still looks a little puzzled for a moment. And she's like,
Perhaps you might prefer the term companion.
uh, she kind of looks at you and she blinks and she goes, oh, friend. Oh, yes, companion. Okay. And she gets down and she walks over to Sky. Do you want me to ride on your shoulder like she does? And she points to her Carbine. And Carbine just, you can hear her kind of giggle on your shoulder. And Sky looks, you're a little, no offense, bigger and fluffier than she is. And Waves like looks at herself. Why, thank you. Sky's like, oh, okay. You can if you want to, but you're a pretty stout little bot, so let's just continue to the walk if you want. She goes, okay. She transforms into her little palace cat form, and she starts walking. She looks like really grumpy looking all the time this way, but she goes, okay, are we ready to go? And she sits down on her fluffy butt, and she's like looking around. And Ash just like looks at all of you, and she goes, you have some interesting new friends. And she gets up, and Ash gestures to the new space bridge that's sitting there, and she goes, well, if you're all ready to go, Prometheus can be there in a moment's notice unless you're taking him with you. And she kind of looks at the space bridge and she goes, she flicks her fingers and it kicks on. And you can see on the other side pretty clearly, she goes, we made some improvements. You can see a sandy area, some rocks. She goes, we put you out a little further just in case to keep you out of sight, but you may want to get in there quickly.
Well, we're not planning on doing an extended stay. We're going in We're stealing all we can, and we're getting out.
When you do, try and give us a call, and we'll get you out as fast as we can if we can do it. We're pretty close. If you can knock down some of the fields that are interfering, we might be able to get you out fast.
That'll be objective 2. Once we get everyone inside, at least as far as our attack team, we can knock out any remaining barriers and take care of everything from there.
Very well. Safe travel. Come back. He steps back away from all of you, and she gestures for you to go through. Guy kind of looks hesitant on going through at first, but Wavelength kind of butts up against her leg, and she's like, "It'll be okay."
Gilgamesh also kind of stand beside her too and just look at her. You're ready for this.
She kind of reaches up over top of her back, and she feels that new blade hilt. And she goes, "Yeah, I think I am." And she starts walking forward, and Wavelength kind of looks at her, and then she looks at you as she walks away, and she goes, "Fascinating." And she starts walking and catching up to a Sky. You all step through. Sky kind of standing on the sandy area, and she's looking around as you are all coming through behind her. You see Ash on the other side as you guys look back, and she waves, and she closes the space bridge behind you. You hear wind blowing about. You feel warm, arid air kind of just blowing around you. Oh, sorry. Yeah, the cough is getting worse again. She looks about, so she pulls up her own console that way, and she points. So Sky's just like, "So we're going that way?"
Yeah, after verifying the direction, I'm like, that's it.
All right. I think I'm gonna transform for this one, and she transforms into the displacer beast form. She goes, "A lot easier to walk on this in this form." Sorry, Overlord. What were you saying?
I was just saying, all right.
Oh, okay. I'll turn that down just there. Oh, here we are. So, you guys are all walking. Are you any of you else are you transforming, or are you just walking around in your bot form?
Yeah, I'll transform because they'll make it easier to traverse the terrain.
As you guys start to proceed forward, Wavelength is like, "I can walk on this stuff, but I'm not very good. I don't have 6 paws like you guys do." Because Carbine does too. She has 6 legs. She's just Caracal form. And she kind of, Sky kind of slows down, and she goes, "Oh, that's right. You do have a little shorter legs." She goes, "Yeah." She kind of moves one of her legs and shakes out the sand. Sky kind of reaches over with one of her tentacle arms and just picks her up and kind of gently shakes her of the sand, and then she sets her right on her back. "Just hold on." And she continues walking with her on her back. She's like, "Oh, thank you. This is much easier. I hope I'm not too heavy." Sky's like, "You're manageable." You guys are walking along. It takes you a little bit to get there. You notice that the sun is, at least one of the suns, is coming around and has kind of set. So you're at a dusk state, so it's kind of dark, but not dark. You got that just a little bit of light. As the other sun, which is blue, is further out, kind of looks like a moon. And you got this light just kind of gently lighting up a little bit. So your night visions start to kick on. You can see everything almost like it's just bright day. Aegis kind of tones his coloring down because he literally looks like a beacon out there. There's no colors, so you can't hide. So he's like, "Hang on, let me change here for a moment. And he literally shuts down his brightness and all this color. And he literally looks like his original form almost, but he's a little bigger. So he's sitting there on your shoulder, overload, and he's pretty bright, but he's now this dull color. And he goes, "That's a little better. No, I'm not standing out. You guys are getting closer. I need you to all make a perception check. I have to roll for her and her. Both of them. Holy crap.
Soft 20.
With disadvantage, right? No, it's still 20. Jesus. 2020. So, since you guys are not, and you do actually have advantage right now because you're the ones creeping up, but you guys hear movement up ahead. You see the rock cliff, you see the tall. It's actually, it looks a little taller than what the image showed of where you could be set up, but you see some lights. It's not super bright, but you could see lighting that seems to be coming down from this trench area up ahead of you. You know this is the location of that cave, the shuttles. It looks pretty big, but it's lit up a little bit. But it doesn't look like it's super bright. Like you could have seen it ways away. In this case, it's dulled down lighting. You hear movement. You hear at least a few bots making noise, and it sounds like they're moving some stuff around. And you know there you can hear what sounds like the engines of a shuttle or something, and just general movement as you approach. Even Sky kind of notices, and she goes, you see her kind of lower down, and even wavelength kind of flattens, like, oh, what's going on? But she's doing this through the comms, so she knows to shut up, kind of thing. And Sky's like, do you see that? The lights? Because your night vision will brighten up from it. You'll see it.
Is she asking me over comms?
Yeah, yeah. She's asking all of you. Do you guys see this? That's all she's asking.
I do see it.
Hmm.
Is there
Yeah.
something unique about it?
No, but it does tell us we're getting close, and there's that location, and you can see she's marking it, so it shows up on your guys' head. You said you wanted to get up higher to get a better vantage. That's the best spot. I can maneuver over and look down from over there, and she marks. She's kind of like you would be at the top of the pillar. She would be more to the left of it. Overload. Is there a spot you would want to move into? Because right now you got the wind and everything. You got cover from everything right now. So you guys don't even need to roll for stealth. They don't even know you're there. Which is hilarious because their rolls suck. Uh-oh. Give me a second. Ah!
Doggos.
Yeah, I'm actually gonna have to tame my own dog soon.
Yeah. Well, I can't imagine we're going to be doing this too much longer. We're probably just going to be doing like the setup for combat, which will probably be on the next session. So.
Sorry, dogs are barking because somebody's home.
But
I thought somebody else was here.
Because
gonna
we need to
look-
get Bob back in here if we're going to do combat. So we're just doing the setup. So we're probably going to be finishing up soon.
Yep. Yeah.
I
So
was gonna look towards Gilgamesh. So how do you want to deal with this? Because I have a plan in mind, but it can backfire.
Well, I can take Overwatch up top, get the numbers on the ground, so we at least know what we're dealing with before we go in. You can go in ahead of me, and I can catch up to you, or provide sniper fire from above.
Not exactly what I was thinking. I haven't told you yet, but I might have discovered a new power.
Oh,
I might be able to, in a sense,
yeah.
hypnotize people. Only briefly, and it can't be like direct harm to them. So, if anything, I could possibly extract some information as well as probably provide you a safer clearance.
The only information I could imagine they could provide is to what the materials that they're moving back and forth are. I can't imagine they're going to have any vital information that we're going to need.
Well, we can find out how many people are there, find out which ones are most heavily guarded, as well as where the depot is.
All right, well, it doesn't necessarily interfere with what I was planning. I can still do Overwatch, and if things do turn south on you, I can still provide sniper fire.
Now,
You can, as I'm saying, you can certainly try it your way, and if it doesn't work for you, I can provide cover, and if things go really south, I can probably jump down and join the fray pretty quickly.
right. Now I know this is bad timing. However, I do need to go. I need to go take out the dogs.
Oh, sorry, I had my mic muted because dogs were making a lot of noise. No, that's fine. Actually, at this point, we can wrap up session for here because, yeah, we do need Baja for this. Also, you're going to have a lot of combat in the next session, so.
Yay!
So you guys are going to get some action. This is all lead up to that, so we can end
Yeah.
session here. You guys can do what you need to. Mercer, go take out your dog.
Yeah.
So, David,
Our last our D and Destiny has been a big setup in the last session, and this one's been a big setup for this session. So
yeah, sorry, it did take a little longer to get some stuff. I will have more stuff for you guys, players, to do, so you'll have some more fun. He just found some.
Yeah, I just found out my Crown of Madness. It doesn't matter if it was harmful or not; they'll just do it.
Oh, he's gonna have so much fun with this.
So I could in theory just make a guy just tell me everything that we need to know, and then just self-annihilate.
Jesus. Oh God, what have I done to you guys?
done to us. What have we done to you?
Yeah, exactly. Doesn't matter either way. It's like, oh man, I'm giving you so much power. It's so much
What do you
fun,
mean?
though.
This is literally just a paladin spell.
I know, but it's still so much fun to hear you guys do
I'm
this
limited.
stuff. Because it's so much fun to hear you guys do all this stuff. It's like, oh man.
And see, like, we haven't even really gotten into the power combine between Carbine and Gilgamesh, because I've been purposely saving that for just the right occasion.
You're gonna have your fun. So,
oh yes,
let's see.
I fully expect to.
All right, well, we'll wrap this up. You guys want to say bye? Mercer, go. If you're still there.
May the common cold guide your heart.
There, now go take your dogs out.
We'll see you next week for D and Destiny. Get some sleep.
And as always, before I sign it off, if you want to catch these episodes, check out that channel. It has all the past episodes of both our campaigns. We're going to be doing D and Destiny next week, right? Unless something happens. Oh God, please no.
No, actually, we should be good unless like Blue gets like stuck and he can't make it back from his trip right away, which we don't know yet. But unless something weird happens between now and Friday, like we have it planned for us to go forward.
Yep. So, and there are other links in there you can see. Click on them. It brings them all up. You can see all the people we streamed together with. Their links are here. Check them out. Give them some love. If you want a Kerbo like mine, which is Sound Blaster with a little knife, that's Heximus. You can check her out. Service Bar Podcast. Check them out. They do their D&D podcast as well as they talk about Transformers. And then they don't sponsor us, but I like Go Dice. They're Bluetooth dice. Go check them out. They also have the chessboard. I like the chessboard.
But they should sponsor us.
Yes, they should sponsor us. Thank you, dear. Please, we're asking nicely. But as always, wherever you're at in the world, have a good morning, good afternoon, good evening, Be safe out there. People be crazy. They nuts.
We're one of them.
We're all of them. Bye, everyone.